All sports, all the time.
There's heroes and there's legends. Heroes get remembered. Legends never die.
This is the Spoken Podcast.
Hold your ears, folks. It's showtime.
I'm your host, Lance Twidwell.
Man, that kid, he can ball, man. He can ball.
Touchdown, Kansas City!
That was freaking Mahomes, baby!
Let's talk some sports, because that's what we're here to do.
You are tuned in to the Spoken.
This is the Spoken Podcast. I'm your host, Lance Twidwell, here inside the Starkey Media Studios with my guy, Trevor Twidwell.
What's good?
Episode 290 is in full swing, full motion. We're so happy to be with you and for you to be here with us, whether you are live streaming, podcasting, or YouTube. We want to thank you so much for taking the time to be with us in this time as we have a awesome show for you guys today because we are back in unison. As you guys remember last week, I did this show. We are so back. We did this show last week, solo dolo. We had a fun time. A little bit of over an hour with just you guys, just you and I, just the two of us. But it's good to have the team back. Trevor is back officially, and that's got me, Trevor, feeling pretty nicey, man.
Got it.
Is that it?
Yeah. Boom. That video's ridiculous, bro.
You know what? Fuck it. Do it one more time, Trevor. Let's get the people
I'm
pumped
feeling
up. Let's
nice.
get ready. Yeah, baby. I just want to do the eyes.
Yeah. All coked up, baby.
Yeah, baby.
Go.
Telling you, I want two of what he's on, man. I'm telling you right now, we're so happy to be here back here with you guys. If you guys have not already done it, we tell you at the top of every single show, we tell you at the bottom of every single show. Get up on YouTube, man. That's where I was focusing most of our energy and attention last week. We had great responses, man. There was over 1,000 people watching live last week, Trevor. I haven't even told you that yet. It was 1,000 people watching live last week, and so many interactions on YouTube. I kindly asked that everybody just jumped over there, and there were so many people that jumped over. I could tell because there were so many newcomers, and we very much appreciate it. We had a ton of new subscribers. That is what we're looking for, guys, as YouTube. We're trying to just build our subscription list. So if you guys could go over there to YouTube real quick, the Spoken Podcast, hit subscribe, notify, share, comment, all that stuff. And I say comment because that's the most important part. Because we have a portion of our show right in the middle of our show called Speak It, where you guys take over the entire segment. You guys ask whatever questions you guys have, and we will give you guys our responses as accurately, as authentically as we possibly can. That is my favorite part of the show because that is where we feel that we're the most interactive with you guys. But throughout the show, feel free to drop comments in the chat, talk amongst yourselves if you guys would like to. If you guys want to have inner debates, discussions, please keep it friendly. Please keep it respectful, guys. We're not here to get ugly with each other, guys. You can just save that for Thanksgiving and Christmas with your families. Yeah. But we want to keep it nice and clean around here because this family likes to have just good sports takes, good sports debates. It's hard to get spirited. We've had plenty on this show between Trevor and myself, between you and myself, and Trevor and you guys. But at the end of the day, man, we're having fun. We keep it on the field, and we keep it on the court, if you will. And we want to do that as much as we possibly can. So go ahead and jump in today, guys, because we want to hear from you. But Trevor, without further ado, it is time for Lance Rants.
Shall I scream? Yeah! We're back on motion!
All right, so a lot has happened this last week, guys. We know that the Chiefs just got done solidifying their 7-0 schedule. They're 7-0 right now.
Speaking into existence, bro.
Yeah, 8-0. We'll get to that in just a second. But you were correct. We feel confident this week. But the Chiefs went home to Las Vegas, as I call it, and everybody calls it Arrowhead West, but I like to call it the outhouse. The Chiefs feel just at home out there because they take care of their business out there, and so they did it again this week. And felt really great about this matchup. I told you guys this last week. I felt like the Chiefs were going to thump the Raiders. That score didn't indicate just how much the Chiefs dominated that game. Yeah. I felt the whole time the Chiefs had the game won, and I love the fact that very early, very often, you saw DeAndre Hopkins being utilized in the offense. This is what I wanted to see because what it was going to do was going to force the Raiders to have to respect wherever he was on the field, and therefore that would open up things for Travis Kelce and for the run game. That is exactly what took place. You saw Travis Kelce have arguably his best game of the season scored his first touchdown of the game, and I think it had a lot to do with DeAndre Hopkins being on the field. It also has to do with the fact that now we're about halfway through the season, which means that Travis Kelce is now going to start ramping up. His usage is going to start going up because the Chiefs knew that if they can get 3-0, 4-0, or have a winning record at this time of the season, that they accomplished what they needed to without Travis Kelce having being an integral part of the offense. Now they know that they're halfway through the season. They're going to win this division. They're more than likely going to get the 1 seed. Staying healthy is the biggest thing right now. And keeping Travis Kelce healthy is the number one priority for this offense. Because if you have a healthy Travis Kelce going into the postseason, then you know you have the scariest receiving option in the history of the NFL on your side. And that is everything the Chiefs need to get to another Super Bowl and finish this three-peat as we've all been talking about. So this Chiefs win, although, again, it was only by a touchdown. Chiefs didn't cover the spread this week. Yeah. They didn't blow them out like we expected from a statistical standpoint, from a scoring standpoint. I still felt like this was a win that the Chiefs had a determined victory where you knew from the get-go the Chiefs were not losing this game. It never really felt all that close. What I want to say, though, Trevor, real quick, and my favorite part of the game that I have to address is the fact that this defense, yes, you're going up against Gardner Minshew, you should dominate him. But it was when Patrick Mahomes got his arm hit in the end zone, interception, very frustrating turnover. It just feels like it happens every damn week. There's something always wiry going on, man. That just has to just something dumb has to happen every damn week. The Chiefs' defense is, I think they got set up on like the 5-6 yard line. I think it was the first play, and you're like, well, they're gonna probably have to concede a score here. I think it's going to be a tied game at that point. Let's just see if the Chiefs can, maybe rally on offense and get a field goal or something and squeak this game out.
Yep.
And the Chiefs defense just did what the Chiefs defense does, man.
Tackle for loss.
A sack.
Yep. 4th down, no conversion. Zamir White was trying to run through the right side and got smashed. This defense, man, it gives me... Look, having Patrick Mahomes on this team, and we're going to talk about this in a minute, is the ultimate reason why the Chiefs are always going to be the favorites, because he is just the best there is when it comes to quarterback play. But what this defense continues to show us, man, is something that I'm not sure I've ever really seen before. And what do I mean by that? I'm not saying that this is like the best defense I've ever seen, but it's the way that they continually and consistently keep things right where it's always at. There's never like this one game where they just get shelled. The defense gave up 45 points. It was like last year, our defense was good, and then that Packers game happened, and we were like, damn.
Yeah, and they only gave up 26.
Yeah, but
you know what I'm saying?
They were getting guys way too open.
And that felt like an insane game. That felt like, wow, the defense really sucked today, and it was 26 points.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, I did that stat, Trevor, I don't know if you saw it, but since 2022, since the beginning of the 2022 season, the Chiefs have kept their opponents to 20 points or less 34 times.
That's insane, bro.
You know how many games have been played in that span? Postseason included? 47.
That's what they call a trend.
So 13 games outside of in the last 3 seasons, 2.5 seasons. Only 13 of those games have they allowed more than 20 points. And none of those games outside of the first 4 weeks of the 2022 season had more than 28. So this defense consistently dominates their opponent. And that is where we have to start the show off today by giving them all the praise, because we know, Trevor, if Patrick was having a 2018 style of season right now, that's what we'd be talking about every single week. We'd be sitting here just gloating about how his numbers are insane. But because of the fact that it's the defense that's actually doing those types of things and are putting up the historic side of things, we have to do the same. We have to keep that same energy because they deserve it, man. And what did we talk about coming into the season? Losing L'Jarius Sneed, they're going to miss him. No, they haven't. Losing Willie Gay, they're going to miss him. No, they haven't. There's nothing that this defense has missed. Now, there are going to be challenges losing guys like that because those are really good players.
Yeah.
And L'Jarius Sneed's balling in Tennessee. He's having they have the number 1 ranked defense going into last week. The Titans. And I like to think L'Jarius Sneed has a lot to do with that. So my point in this is there comes challenges. You're going to lose guys. Jalen Watson probably missed the rest of the season. You have a very inexperienced cornerback group. But what do we always talk about, Charlie? I was talking to Chiefs Hall of Famer Kevin Ross this week on Arrowhead Allies. And, this dude's a defensive back, badass player. And I brought up Dave Merritt because I don't think he gets enough respect. I don't think he gets enough praise. Spags being the genius he is as a DC.
Yep.
I asked Kevin Ross, because he knows Dave Merritt at a personal level, I said, why isn't this guy a DC yet? Do you think that's something he set out for? Because we remember San Francisco wanted him as their DC this last offseason, and Dave Merritt decided to stay.
Right. And I think because of that, we're seeing the fruits bear, or the labors are bearing fruit of Dave Merritt sticking around. Because I'm going to be honest with you, I still think this defense would be really good if Dave Merritt left for San Francisco. But having him in place still it reminds me a lot of, this is high praise, but it's a lot like Ben Johnson staying in Detroit this offseason. When Ben Johnson decided to stay, you knew the Lions offense was going to click on all cylinders this year.
They knew they have something.
They knew they had that. And so this defense is predicated on pass rush, sure, because you have Chris Jones, you spend all your money on him. He's the only defensive player making real money on this defense. But this secondary has been such a large reason as to why this team continues to win games in the regular season and postseason. And I have to believe that Dave Merritt's presence in that cornerback room, in that DB's room, is paying serious dividends to this point because these guys are so young. Well, I don't want to say inexperienced anymore because Joshua Williams, Justin Reed, Chamari Connor, all these guys are Super Bowl champions. So these guys do have the experience, but this room as a whole is very, very young. Very, very young. And it doesn't seem to get in their way. So seeing this game the way it did, I couldn't be happier, Trevor. I couldn't be more impressed. That last touchdown was bullshit. I don't hold that against the defense.
My parlay.
It did suck, but I think the Chiefs were just trying to get the clock to go down. They were just playing that soft shell coverage. They did blitz. They did go all out on the final play, and I think Jacoby Myers scored the touchdown.
Yep.
Whatever. The point is the Chiefs knew they were getting the dub, and that's exactly what happened. All signs point to the Chiefs continuing to move along the streak, Trevor, the winning streak, and on Monday Night Football. What were your thoughts on this game overall, man?
Well, before I get to my thoughts, I just wanted to put this out there. Our guy via Noah Groniger, Jared Wiley is confirmed to have torn his ACL, and they are calling up Peyton Hendershot. So that is a brutal.
When the fuck did that happen?
Not a brutal loss to this team, but a brutal loss to my guy, who I think has high hopes of becoming something as the years go on. So that's a rough start to his.
Was that at practice?
I guess so, man. I heard he got hurt. He wasn't going to probably play this week or be active this week, but him tearing his ACL is rough, man, going into next season.
Shit.
Hopefully, speedy recovery for my guy because I have high hopes for that guy. I liked him a lot coming into this league, so that sucks. So I just wanted to get that out there as soon as I could. But as far as this game, man, I mean, this Chief defense, like I've said for weeks now, every time we watch games together, whoever we watch with, this is the best unit in football. Better than any hot shot offense, any offense that's putting up all these points. I don't care who it is. This is the best unit in football. Better than any other defense, in my personal opinion. Better than any offense, in my personal opinion. We've seen a lot of up and down offenses, but this defense has been as consistent as any unit in football, and they showed that once again. Granted, against not great competition, but put in rough situations like you said with that interception, setting them up on the right in the red zone immediately, and they didn't do shit. They actually went backwards. Right, so that was impressive. No matter who you're playing against, a football team, man, a professional football team. For anybody to do that against a professional football team, most teams score there, at least get 3, right? And most teams know they need to be aggressive and put up touchdowns against us, even though we're not some high-flying offense right now, but we can score when we need to. Teams tend to be aggressive against us, and we know that, and we match that aggressiveness and topped it one notch. So that was impressive to see. Spags for president, man. I mean, this guy is just out there coaching his ass off on an elite level. Going to go down as arguably the best DC ever. I mean, especially if we win this 3-peat, I don't think there's a question. And then Andy Reid. Andy Reid coached a good game. We had a couple blunders in the game. Other than that, I think Andy Reid coached a good, clean game. Patrick looked sharp. Other than that tip ball sucks. Every week he's turning the ball over, and that really sucks. It makes it look rough on the box score. But if you watch Pat the last couple weeks, I've been really impressed with him. He looks very confident. Yeah. He looked, starting with that Juju game against the Saints, right? He looked really confident throwing the ball to Juju, getting the guys he trusts. Now getting D-Hop and looking forward to this next week with him getting more acclimated into this offense. He looked good. He looked composed. He looked poised. He looked confident throwing the ball, putting it on guys instead of looking like he was second guessing himself like he has for the majority of this year so far. It was good to see Pat just looking like himself, just slinging it. So, and then Kareem Hunt, man. I mean, my God, another week. Here we go.
4 games, 4 touchdowns,
dude. It's for real. This is not some fluke. I mean, if he can keep his health together. Granted, last year people were acting like he was all banged up and it was like some consistent injury-prone type stuff. He had a hernia, right, last year, so it wasn't like he was dealing with some issue that is going to be a consistent nagging thing throughout the rest of his career. It was a freak incident, with the sports hernia. So that's fixed. He's had time off. He's been fresh. He's been incredible for us this year, man. So I'm loving what I'm seeing out of Kareem Hunt. Carson Steele continues to get good work too. I like what I've seen out of him in spurts. This running game is nasty. We've turned into a run-heavy. We're still throwing the ball, 30, 35 plus times a game, but we've turned into a run-heavy, defensive-minded team, and I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
When you got a unit as good as this defense is, lean into that. I'm fine with that, bro. That'll change your decisions. Not happen to be as aggressive on offense. It takes some pressure off Pat, honestly, too, and I like that. And it was good to see Kelce get in the end zone. I know you had your prediction there.
I did, man.
And you nailed that shit. He was due, obviously. I think a lot of people kind of felt that was similar to you. I felt that way coming into this game, too. So if I was in the show, I would have been right there, lock and step.
Right.
He was a lock to have a big game. 10 catches, I think 90-plus yards and a score. I mean, as is a vintage. That's what he does against the Raiders. That's what he does against these divisional foes. So it was good to see Kelce get on board, get that juice going. Going to need him down the stretch, too. If Juju's not going to play again, it's looking like this week. So I'm going to need Kelce more and more. Noah Gray just continues to be a weapon every time he's called upon. He's been, he's basically become a kind of possession receiver. I like seeing that, and he's been good after the catch as well. So I like seeing Noah Gray. Jody Fortson goes down. That sucks. He's done for the year. And then we lose another guy in our youngin, Jared Wiley, which was just announced. That sucks too. So we got a banged up tight end room right now. So Noah Gray and Kelce have to be stepping it up big time, especially in that 12, 13 personnel that we've been rolling out there quite a bit lately. But overall, man, good game. It's always a nice week when you beat the Raiders, especially with all the shit talking that was going on in the offseason. The Raiders didn't really hold up their end of it, I guess. It didn't look like. So the Chiefs brought it, and we got a big game coming up on Monday night. So
shout out real quick. I'm gonna give the shout out to the chat. I'm seeing a lot of people on here hanging stuff, and I appreciate you guys. You guys obviously know we had to push the show back a couple hours.
Yeah.
I had to go watch my badass niece go and put on a display in a volleyball game. She went 2-0. They're 2-0 now. So
the Twizzlers, shout out to the Twizzlers.
Yeah, shout out to them. Trevor and I had to make sure and be there. I would not want to miss my niece's volleyball game. This is her first season playing, so this is very important. So we appreciate the Spoken family allowing us a couple of hours to get that going. But next week we will be on regular scheduled time at 11 o'clock. So hang tough with us, guys. We promise you that'll be the case. But thank you guys for hanging tough. Shout out also to Lonnie Pyramid for being early today. Holy shit.
Well, early. We're actually late, so we met him halfway.
I just wanted to put it out there, because technically the show did just start. So Lonnie is technically early. I appreciate that, Lonnie. Dustin Orton, shout out to you, brother. Good afternoon. Our guy Timmy Hassan out there from Nigeria, hanging in today. It's great to be here again. Greetings from Nigeria. Josh Uche will tear it up for the Chiefs, 17-0, incoming with a Super Bowl. Our girl Julia Gulia, shout out Julia. Alrighty then, here early. Dogs on the couch, Spoken on the laptop. OG Cushion the Bull. That's what I'm talking about. Let's fucking go. Go Chiefs. Julie, you might have to pass that later on. I'm just saying. So shout out to Billy Hodge. He's in the chat. Our guy John Harrison, of course, with the stats and facts as always. Thank you guys for being here with us, man. We really appreciate you guys hanging out with us on a Saturday afternoon, rather. It's a little dreary outside in Kansas City if you guys live out here. It's a little rainy, so this is the perfect day to come and hang out, man. Maybe, watch Sleepy Hollow. It's like the perfect day for that. Yeah. But before you get to that, let's hang out in the Spoken Podcast. And I'm glad our guy Timmy Hassan brought that up, Trevor, because when it came to Joshua Uche, that's our next topic I want to bring up. The Chiefs went ahead and just signed this big SOB, this scary MF, if you will. Look at this picture real quick. Look at that face. Are you kidding me right now? Look at this guy, man. This guy's an absolute specimen, dude. Joshua Uche, that's a man that wants to win a ring. I'll tell you that right now. And how wild is it that times have changed so much that you have to get away from the Patriots to win a ring?
Right, let's go.
But this is our guy right here, Joshua Uche. Don't call me Josh Uche. It's Joshua Uche. He's one of those guys.
Bobby Uche.
Yeah, exactly. He's one of those guys that wants you to know his full name. He wants you to know his government. And his government is good with me because this guy, I think if I was to give him a ranking, he'd be a Fed because this dude looks like he's about ready to feed in Kansas City, bro. I'll say this. When I first heard this, I didn't really know what to expect here because full disclosure, I didn't really know Joshua Uche all that well.
Sure.
He's on a team that's very irrelevant. And I didn't really know him as a player. I'm just gonna be totally honest and outright about that. But when I saw the numbers and I saw Bill Belichick, who is an incredible defensive talent evaluator,
the Patriots find those kind of guys.
He drafted him originally, and we got some facts in a second I want to give you guys. That got me excited. It got me excited also the fact that this is a guy that I think fits seamlessly in the Spags system. He comes from a similar system, the 4-3 scheme. I think this is a guy that can walk right in right now and be an effective player. And we talked about this on Arrowhead Alleys this week about what we think this guy can be. Trevor, these are the types of moves mid-season that could be, the move that makes or breaks a season. I don't want to sound hyperbolic or dramatic because we obviously know that as long as you have Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, and Chris Jones and those guys, you're always going to have a chance. But it's sometimes the others that make the plays. As we know, Trevor, David Tyree with the snag. We know that it was Brandon Graham in that Super Bowl when the Eagles and Patriots couldn't stop each other offensively.
Yeah.
And Brandon Graham got the strip sack in the fourth quarter, and they won the game against Tom Brady, who threw like 580 yards.
Yeah.
Like, those are the guys that make those plays.
We've
and then Brandon Graham
seen the Mike Pinnells and the Danos make big plays in the postseason.
Exactly.
That make or break a game.
Exactly, dude. We saw Joshua Williams and Jalen Watson pick off Joe Burrow in the AFC Championship. Rookie quarterbacks.
MBS having the game-winning catch just last year.
Exactly. Noah Gray catching a touchdown in the AFC Championship. McCole Hardman walk-off touchdown. Like, it's the others that a lot of times do the things that win titles. Yeah. And I think that Joshua Uche is going to be one of those guys for the Chiefs. I think he's the guy that's going to make a play in a humongous playoff game that's going to change the trajectory of that game or solidify a victory for the Chiefs. One or the other or both. Now, the question everyone's asking right now, Trevor, is what is the purpose of this signing? Now, from the naked eye, you're thinking, okay, well, obviously it's just a good signing to have because you always want to have depth at edge rush. That's true. Maybe that's all it is. Yeah. Or there's Avenue 2. This is because Charles Omenihu maybe isn't healing like they want him to. Maybe he had a setback, and maybe, Charles just ain't the same guy. Maybe there's something to do with that. That's Avenue 2, and this could be that guy that fills in for him. Or Avenue 3. Mike Dana and FAU, because FAU's lack of development to this point, and Mike Dana's still banged up too.
Yeah.
This is a guy that can come in and play for Mike Dana while he's still hurt and aching, and then hopefully get him healthy for the postseason. Regardless of what avenue it is, he is a person of need. He is a guy that can absolutely, because right now, Trevor, let's be real. Karlaftis has come on of late, but this season it's been Chris Jones and a bunch of guys. Turk Wharton's had a good season, but Turk Wharton's not going to be a guy that gets you double-digit sacks. He's going to be a guy that makes a play here and there. Yeah. You need guys on the outside that can get that pressure, that closing speed, and knock the quarterback on his ass. That's what you need on this defense. And they haven't had enough of that so far this year. That's why they've been putting Chris Jones on the outside. That's why they've been throwing him all over the line, because they need him to create things. Now you're taking a little bit of that pressure off because, according to these numbers, let's go ahead and put the first one up, Trevor. This is one of the first facts that, according to KCChiefs.com, number one, Uche has racked up 106 pressures and 16.5 sacks over the last 3 seasons. The 26-year-old Uche has been a productive player during his young career, logging 106 pressures, 23 quarterback hits, and 16.5 sacks since 2022. For context, his 13 pressures this season now ranked 4th on the Chiefs, and looking at last year, his 37 pressures would have ranked 4th on the team behind only defensive lineman Chris Jones with 75. Jesus Christ. Defensive end George Karlaftis with 64, and defensive end Mike Dana with 41. Number 2. He owns a pass rush win rate of 17.2% this season. Uche has 2 sacks this year in 7 games, but the traditional statistics don't tell the full story. In fact, his pass rush win rate of 17.2% as calculated by Pro Football Focus ranks 14th in the NFL amongst edge rushers with 90-plus pass rusher snaps. He now immediately leads all Chiefs edge rushers in that category, and overall, only Chris Jones at 18.5% has a higher win rate than Uche of the Kansas City's defense. Number 3, his top statistical season was in 2022. At the 6'1", 240-pound Uche was among the most productive pass rushers in the NFL during the 2022 campaign. He piled up 56 pressures, which was 20th in the NFL, and 11.5 sacks, 12th in the NFL that year, tallying up all those sacks over the course of the Patriots' final 10 games of the season. His pass rush win rate that season was 19.2%, which ranked 5th amongst all players, regardless of position, among those 250-plus pass rush snaps. Number 4, Uche originally entered the NFL as a second-round pick in 2020. Uche was the number 60th overall pick in the 2020 NFL Draft, making him the number 28 pick in the second round. He was the 7th edge rusher selected that year. Prior to the draft, he was considered the number 5 edge rusher available by the Athletics' Dane Brugler. Here's what the Brugler wrote about Uche in his draft. Quote, Uche is a speedy, loose-hipped athlete with functional speed, functional length to rush the passer and the range to chase down ball carriers versus the run. Overall, Uche will require a patient coaching staff as he learns to be more polished and instinctive player, but his twitched-up athleticism and edge speed are difference-making traits. Difference-making traits. Projected as an NFL nickel rusher and eventual starter, end quote. Now, the fifth one, we don't have to really get through it. It just talks about his college days. He went to Michigan, which is a very prestigious school, so that had to be mentioned. But that's the sticking point to all this, Trevor. That the Brugler brought that up. He said exactly what I think that this is going to be, the move this is going to be, a difference-making player.
He's high upside.
What have I always said, Trevor, about why I like veteran wide receivers over rookies? Because I know what they are. That's why I hammered it home for 16-plus months. The Chiefs need to go get D-Hop. Because this is a dude you can fit right into the offense.
Yeah, those guys have developed a specialty.
And they know how to fit into an offense. They know how to walk into a locker room and gain the respect and trust of their teammates overnight.
You know the service that they provide.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is what Uche is for this defense.
Yeah.
This is a guy that can walk in day one and people can respect because of what he's already done in this league and how he can fit into this defense and make a difference, whether it's one play or 19 plays. It doesn't matter. All they're asking for him to do is his damn job. And it's ironic because that was the whole motto of Bill Belichick's defense back in the day. Do your job. If you just do your job, we're going to find a way to win this game. Yeah. And none better place for Uche to land than in Kansas City, a team that's won 22 of their last 28 games overall, have won 13 straight games. This is a guy that he knows if he just does his job and is a net positive for this defense, they're going to win a lot of games with him on their defense. So no one's expecting him to be the star or the stud. No one's expecting him to be the guy that leads the way. He knows it's Chris Jones' defense. He knows it's Spags and Dave Merritt running the thing.
Yeah.
So there's no pressure on him. All there is just, hey, go in there, make a difference when you get your snaps. He'll probably play 15 to 30 snaps a game, and when he does, go out there and make a difference. Go out there and hit the quarterback. Go out there and bat a ball down. Go out there and make a tackle for loss. Go out there and make a strip sack. Do something. Make a difference, and if you do that, you are a net positive for a 2026 sixth-round pick. That's an absolute steal. It's Veach season, bitch. Trevor, what do you think about this move?
Yeah, go be a freaky athlete. Plays are gonna come with guys like that. Yeah, and for those who might question, yeah, his best season was 2022 when he was alongside Matthew Judon, and then once Matthew Judon left, his production dipped a little bit. Yeah, now he's playing with Chris Jones, right? So those numbers can definitely be mirrored once he's here playing alongside an even better defensive lineman. That demands that much more respect from the opposing offensive lineman that they're facing now. And he's being coached by Spags. So, I mean, you combine those two things. I mean, the dude can have a career rest away this year with the Chiefs if he, continues to do what he showed he could do in 2022 with those numbers alongside Matthew Judon, now paired with Chris Jones. I love this move. This is a great move. It makes total sense. And I think it is a slight damning move to FAU, in my personal opinion. I think it's hard not to take that as that a little bit.
So that's the avenue you're
I think so. I think they might not be sold on the progression and the development of FAU. Look, and that happens, man. This happens every year. There's always a guy that gets taken early in the draft and just doesn't pan out. I'm not saying that's the case yet with FAU. I haven't given up on him yet, but I think this season in particular, they're obviously going to give him another year next year to see what he does because he's still going to be under contract, but contract year speaks a lot. You tend to get the best of the guys, so that'll be telling a lot for FAU next year. This move is so good, man. And now I've watched the tape on Uche a little bit since we got him. I didn't know too much about him either. But the dude's a dog. He's a freak athlete. Like they said, his hips are fluid. The guy moves. He can be a little reckless sometimes. He can get a little overzealous. But I like guys like that. That sounds like Frank Clark. When we first got him over here, that's kind of how he was. A very aggressive, kind of over aggressive sometimes. Got himself in trouble sometimes. Late hits or finishing plays a little too hard. I like guys like that. They have an edge to them. You want a guy like that, and then we're gonna get another guy like that here soon in the next coming week or two in Minhu.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have some dogs on this defensive line, bro. They're gonna want to prove a point, have a chip on their shoulder. Yeah. So I mean, I think this Uche move, a young, aspiring, can be a top tier NFL player at his position. He's already kind of shown that at spurts in 2022. Those numbers were up there with the best. You know what I mean? So. Basically top 15 in his position. You bring a guy in that, what was a 4th round pick we gave away?
6th round. 2026 6th round pick.
That's all day, dude. I'll take that. I love my defensive linemen. I love my linebackers, my edge rushers. So you can build depth at that position, especially if guys like FAU aren't performing the way that you would hope they are. And that's the reality of this game. Some guys just don't pan out. Or are playing up to their potential in any given season. So I love the move. I love that Omenahu's coming back soon too. I love that Mike Dana. I'll be healthy right now, but he'll be back soon too. This defensive line is nasty. This is just another piece for Spags to play with, man, and I love it. I think there's still moves to be made, so yeah, I like this one.
And again, you're talking about the inexpensive side of this too. I mean, the Chiefs are paying him next to no money,
Yeah.
and you're giving up basically just a flyer pick in 2 years.
He could be a guy if he performs well, and maybe we extend him next year.
Exactly, 26 years old,
extension.
right?
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. Like,
it's a great move.
These are the typical Brett Veach moves, because when they got Charles Minhu in the offseason a couple years ago, it was very low key. Not expensive. I think it was like $25 million total for 3 years. You're paying this guy way less than $10 million a year for a guy like Charles Omenihu. You're going to get Uche for next to nothing in money, and you're giving up a flyer pick in 2 years.
Yeah,
these are the typical Brett Veach moves. That's why.
Yeah, a team that's reeling, that's basically tanking the season at this point, trying to see what they got in their new young quarterback. It just makes sense that they're not trying to win games right now.
Of all the moves the Chiefs have made so far to make this team better this season, you're talking about D-Hop, you're talking about now Uche, you're talking about things like this. If you look at it, this is the principle I always attach myself to when I talk about you pay offense and you draft defense. It's still in that same principle because of the fact that, yes, you did trade for – so you're technically drafted Uche with that draft pick.
Yeah.
Because you aren't paying him anything, like I said. Yeah. So you're basically drafting another defensive player in his prime years for no money.
And he's a guy that wants to get paid. So if he goes and wins a chip – It's leverage from both sides of the spectrum, because we got D-Hop, a guy who's already a Hall of Fame player, who's already made the bag, yet has no jewelry.
Right.
He wants that. He has his momentum. His motivation is getting that jewelry now. That's all he wants left. And you got another guy who if he goes and gets jewelry, he's going to get the bag.
Right.
It's best. It's getting the best of both worlds from the guys at two different positions that we have needs of.
Yeah.
So this
Rookie of the year.
it's
best of both worlds.
Veach is out here just cooking, bro. He's in the kitchen just doing his shit. Cooking up that gumbo, baby, and I love it.
Well, since they went and got D-Hop, I was convinced, because we've talked about this on the show. I said this on Twitter tons of times, that we need to see, and it's going to be very telling over these next couple of weeks, Trevor, how in the Chiefs are from a brass standpoint, from a franchise upper office standpoint, upper management standpoint,
sure,
how all in they are in this three-peat. There's no more questioning it now. We know Brett Veach is all in. You go and get D-Hop. You go and make a move like Uche.
Yeah.
We know that this team is all about winning right now. The plan is to continue to win, and that plan's still very much in place. It's not like the Chiefs had to mortgage their future to go and get an Uche or go and get a D-Hop. They didn't. I mean, they really didn't, guys. So I love this move. And I think the only way that D-Hop's conditional fifth right now would go into a fourth-round pick is if they go to the Super Bowl. So even if at worst case scenario, the Chiefs have to give a fourth-round pick for going and getting a Hall of Fame receiver, like you said, Trevor, that's motivated and hell-bent on winning his first Super Bowl.
Locks himself into with a gold jacket if he gets a chip.
I'll give him a fourth-round pick every damn time for that. Sign me up for that shit. And you saw, how coincidental is it, Trevor? The offense this week, I get it. It's the Raiders. I understand. Contextualize it. But they looked as fluid as they have all season when they happen to have that difference maker back. Like, Rashee Rice is a difference maker. We can address that. But, Trevor, we also know that Rashee Rice is still developing his game. Yeah. He was barely in year 2. He was just cutting his teeth in year 2. We knew that Rashee was still molding himself.
Yeah, he's still not a great route runner. He's still working on that.
DeAndre Hopkins is an 11-year vet. This man knows what to do.
Arguably the best hands of all time.
Yeah.
Like we're talking all-time catch radius.
We're talking about an all-decade kind of dude. A guy that's got over...
percentages wide.
He's got almost 80 touchdowns in his career. He's got 12,000-plus yards. He's got 700-plus receptions. Like, this is a dude that just knows how to be a great receiver. He's already established. So, although Rashee is like that awesome piece that we're missing... Getting. We talked about this before even last draft, or when they got Rashee Rice, about how D-Hop would be the perfect guy to have with Rashee to develop into that, because they're almost the exact same dude stylistically and body wise. So that
a little bit different athleticism. I think Rashee's the better athlete.
Maybe
after the catch. For
sure.
Yeah.
I'll give you that.
Yeah.
The point is that's the perfect guy for Rashee to learn under. So hopefully. What I'm hoping for, now this is way down the road, I'm hoping that they find a way to get D-Hop another year in Kansas City after this season. I'm hoping that because there is a chance, Trevor, and I hope it isn't true, but there is a real chance that Travis Kelce retires after the season.
Sure.
And, Rashee Rice is going to be suspended next season. If let's say Travis retires and you don't have Rashee for the first 6-7 games of the season, you got Xavier Worthy and who? They go maybe pick up another guy or re-sign Juju Smith-Schuster or whatever, but you better keep D-Hop for another year.
Especially if we win this year, man. If we win this year, D-Hop, I fully feel pretty confident that he would want to return and have fun.
Or he could go get one more chunk of the apple where he's like, hey, I can go get a 2-year deal.
33, bro. I don't know, man.
You're probably right.
That's tough.
But speaking of D-Hop, Trevor, we go ahead and put up the stat. I put this up yesterday or last week for the people to see. This is my stat prediction for DeAndre Hopkins with the Chiefs this season. So I think he's going to finish the season with 57 receptions, 673 yards, and 7 touchdowns. Now the 7 touchdowns might seem lofty, but if you look at the remainder of the schedule, the Chiefs have a lot of bad passing defenses coming down the pike. I mean, you're talking about the Buccaneers. You're talking about the Bills. You're talking about the Browns. The Browns have actually had a really bad pass defense this year. What's called the Steelers surprisingly have had bad pass defense this year. The Raiders again. They have the Chargers again. Like they have some like 6-7 defenses that they got to play down the pike that are really bad pass defenses.
And I just don't think it. Even though we're playing good pass defenses, I think the touchdowns can definitely come for D-Hop, though,
right?
Because this is what he's done his whole career. You give him 50-50 balls, he's coming down with it.
Now, my caveat on this is
Pat's just got to get that ball in the right place.
My prediction, though, is that he only plays 10 of the 11 games of him being here. Because when he came to Kansas City, there's 11 games left.
On his health.
Well, no, the reason why, actually, what I have it is because I don't think that he plays Week 18. Because I think the Chiefs lock up the 1
I think
seed.
a lot of people are going to be out that week.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. So this is a 10-game. So I think he's going to catch around 5 to 6 passes a week on average.
Oh, yeah.
I think he's going to get around 67 yards, and like every other game gets a touchdown. Because we have to think about this. Even though Travis Kelce had a really good game against the Raiders, we do know the Chiefs are still easing him into
the Chiefs like to spread the ball around.
So D-Hop needs to get adequated into the offense more and more and more. What better way to do that than give him more targets?
And the fact that we're running 20, 25 times a week.
Right.
That's nice.
So do you like these numbers? Do you see them any differently?
I think it's fair. I think you could top it. I think it's fair. 7 touchdowns is tough.
That's lofty. It's
lofty.
Yeah,
but I mean, at the same time, dude, like I think he's a guy that we've had this. What's the biggest weakness of this offense so far this year? It's been the red zone woes.
Right.
And I think he's a guy that can definitely. I mean, obviously, Kareem Hunt is
a 50-50 guy.
Kareem Hunt has damn near fixed that problem himself so far since he's been here. My God, but just give him the ball. We're within the 10. I mean, Jesus Christ.
And Pacheco will be back in a couple weeks.
Yeah, you have that Thunder and Lightning duo together.
Man.
I think we're going to run a lot more than we're not now that we're in the red zone and we know what Kareem Hunt can do. But I think he's another guy that can solve a lot of problems in the red zone as well, especially or third and longs. You know, we're trying to convert those. He's a guy that can go get you touchdowns from even further out. So Diop has been a touchdown monster his whole career because he's incredible at going to get those tough 50-50 balls. You know, damn near any corner doesn't matter, man. We've seen the guy just moss guys left and right his whole career. So Pat's just got to be able to trust him, get the ball up there, and I think the touchdowns will come. But the yardage for sure. I think he's become already the possessions guy. I think he's a guy that gets you, 9 to 10 yards a catch.
Yeah,
because he's gonna know how to get. He's one of the best separators still to this day in his game. That's what has made him his career. Not dropping balls and getting separation. That's what he's always done. He's not the best after the catch guy. Never really has been. Not a burner, but the guy will be consistent. I think Pat's gonna feed him. I mean, especially with Juju being out again this week. Depending on guys like McCall Hardman around him. Sky Moore being out as well, so the rotation is thin. I think these numbers are honestly pretty humble.
And I love the fact that just his first game with the Chiefs, he only caught 2 passes. There was one that Patrick sailed on him. Otherwise, that'd have been another big catch. He
doesn't know the offense yet.
14.5 yards per reception. 2 catches for 29 yards.
Yeah, he's going to be the if it's third and long. Third down, and we're throwing it. It's going to deep.
And again,
or Kelsey.
And let's have a truthful conversation here. That's what we do here, fellas, ladies and gentlemen. Patrick's gonna want to put his numbers up a little bit more. Patrick does not want to have.
He wants to have
year.
a hot second half of the year for sure.
I'm thinking that in the next 9 games or so, Patrick's gonna have 20 touchdowns. I really believe that. I think he's gonna throw a lot of touchdowns these next 8 to 10 games. So, you have to start asking yourself, well, who are those targets gonna go to? And I'm stuck on D-Hop because he wants to build that relationship. Hollywood Brown's not there. Rashi's not there. Sure, Travis is there. And maybe Travis gets a few more hands on the season with 4 or 5 touchdowns or something, which is fine.
Yeah.
But I still think they're looking at hey, let's just make sure Travis,
Travis don't give a shit about his numbers this year, bro.
Every few games, Travis is going to get 8 to 10 receptions for 90 yards and a touchdown.
I think Noah Gray's role is going to continue to grow too. Sure. Especially with we're losing 2 tight ends now.
But I don't even think it's a debate, Trevor, who's going to get the most out of most production for the rest of the season. It's going to be D-Hop. It's going to be D-Hop. Xavier Worthy, sure, he might get some. He's not a volume guy, though. At least not yet.
He's a guy. He's going to get touchdowns.
Yes.
The guy, that's all he freaking
does. He
leads
the team. He leads the team in touchdowns.
He's top 5 in the league at receivers in touchdown scores.
Yes, 5 touchdowns.
With his rushing included.
5 touchdowns.
Yeah,
so he's doing his thing.
He's probably going to have 10, 11 touchdowns by the end of the year.
He might. But I like D-Hop in the red zone. I like D-Hop in the middle of the field. I just like D-Hop period in this offense. And guys, I cannot express enough. All of you that follow us know that I have been waiting for this day, and I was the happiest Chiefs fan in the world seeing Patrick Mahomes and D-Hop on the same field because it fits so fucking good, man.
Yeah.
Like, it is such a great fit for these two guys to play together. I said it last season, and I still mean it when I say this. And this is no disrespect, or it's not a shot at Tyreek Hill, but this is the best receiver that Patrick Mahomes has ever thrown a football to. And I mean that. Tyreek Hill is the most dynamic receiver.
Close.
But I think that D-Hop, from a catch perspective,
When D-Hop was
route running
peaking,
perspective,
Tyreek was peaking still too. They were arguably top two receivers in the game for a little while.
let me contextualize it. I'm not saying that right now D-Hop's better than Tyreek Hill.
Right.
I'm saying that from a career standpoint, what this guy is, from a catcher, from a route runner, his body's like everything. He's a better overall player than Tyreek Hill.
D-Hop's the more complete receiver.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
It's like
Tyreek's more dynamic.
It's like a 36-year-old Jerry Rice caught a pass from Patrick Mahomes. I'd be like, that's the greatest receiver he's ever had, technically. It's like, that's Jerry Rice. You know what I mean? Like, so what I'm saying is, when you have a guy this complete, who's, at the tail end of his prime years and all that stuff, sure, he's still enough to make the difference that this offense has been craving for the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Like, they may do it in 2022. They did their thing.
A sure-handed big body guy.
Yes.
Yeah,
a 50-50 dude to go up there and get those passes that Patrick likes to throw up there and risk. Patrick likes throwing risky passes.
Yeah.
Go let D-Hop go get those balls.
Now you got one of the best 50-50 guys ever.
Yeah, so I can't praise it enough. I'm just over the moon about this acquisition. I was wanting to talk about it one more time with you because obviously we didn't get to talk last week.
I'm stoked, man.
But this is the most exciting signing I think as a Chiefs fan that I've seen in a long time, because this guy is going to help this team.
Well, we've wanted it for years now.
Yeah,
we've been talking about it for years, and the Chiefs have wanted it. But D-Hop obviously chose the Titans over us last year, or was it last year? Yeah. So I mean, it is what it is. He took the money, and I don't. Hey. Grown man, I ain't put my hand in no grown man's pockets. Right. Do you? But now he's, this is his best opportunity to make it, towards the twilight of his career, to go out here and get some jewelry, bro. And not only get jewelry, be a part of this is going to be the most incredible moment in NFL history if we complete this.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up, Trevor, because there's another topic that we're not going to discuss it yet, but it's going to be discussing the discussion, if that makes sense. So we know that the Chiefs, obviously their number one goal is to, like Trevor just said, make history, get the three-peat, do something no other team's ever done in the history of the NFL, at least in the modern era.
Yeah.
But Trevor, last night I was at Quick Trip, and there's a security guard guy there. I talked to him every once in a while. He's a really nice dude, really friendly guy. Always, he I don't know why, but he always talks. Maybe he watches our show. I don't know, but he always asks me Chiefs questions. And I was in line, and he came up to me. He goes, "Hey man, do you think they're going undefeated?" And I've had this question in my mentions, now in person, several times. People at work, people everywhere are constantly asking me about that because people feel it's a legitimate conversation to be had. This is what I'm going to say, Trevor. This is my analogy.
7-0 for the first time in the Mahomes era, so yeah.
This is my analogy.
It's fair.
Yes, it's true. Yeah, they've never even been 6-0 until this season.
Right.
My analogy is like this. I'm a big baseball guy. You know that. Growing up, I remember there was one season, Trevor, Steve was pitching, our buddy Steve. He got through about 3 innings of no hits, and no one's saying anything because we're like, well, it's 3 innings.
Yeah.
Got through the lineup once. It happens. You get hot, whatever. But then it got to the 6th inning, and Steve still hadn't given up a hit. Steve still through 6 innings hadn't given up a hit, and we start looking around. We're like, bro, he might do this. I'm just saying, like,
we've gotten into
Steve. Yeah, what Steve? Jesus Christ, he's got the roids.
What's in his Gatorade?
Something wrong with his medulla oblongata. No, but we all started, and obviously the rule is you do not talk to the pitcher. Yeah. Don't touch him. Don't talk to him. Ignore him completely, right? Because he's going to ignore you. Yep. But we're all on the other side of the bench going, dude, this is right. Steve might do it. The Chiefs. Let me put it like this, guys. Hear me out here. If the Chiefs go to Buffalo and win that game and go 10-0, that's their 6th inning. If they go into Buffalo and beat the Bills in their Super Bowl, the Bills' Super Bowl is that game. If they do that, that is when we have this discussion. I am not entertaining this discussion yet because, ironically, Trevor, you can vouch for this, or you can just go back to our prediction show. I said the Chiefs are going to go 9-0 to start the season. And then they're going to go to Buffalo and lose that game by a very close margin because the Buffalo Bills, they have to have that game. Yeah. I said they're going to be still fighting for a playoff spot, which they very much are.
Especially if they lose to the Dolphins this week.
Yeah, there's a chance too, man, because the Bills are very banged up.
For sure.
They'll probably win, though, but I digress.
Yeah.
The point is, this is the game. That is the game that determines it. I am very confident the Chiefs will be undefeated going into that game. Spoiler alert, okay? I'm very, very confident the Chiefs will be 9-0 going into Buffalo. And I still am Trevor, right now, if I had to make the choice, I would pick the Bills in that game. I know that sounds nuts because I actually don't believe in the Bills. I actually think they're a very fraudulent team because the only two teams they face this year that are even good are the Ravens and Texans. What happened in those games? Oh, the Ravens beat them by 25, and the Texans were up 17-0 at one point, won the game.
The addition of Amari Cooper and possibly him growing into the offense gives me some pause. But I mean,
their defense scares me.
They've been a very roller coaster team.
Their defense is terrible.
James Cook's
very
great.
Overrated defense. They have feasted on bad teams.
Josh Allen's been great this year, though. He just threw his first interception last week.
He was terrible against the only two good teams. He threw 30% against the Texans.
I mean, against our defense, I put money on us.
But I'm saying he threw 30% against the Texans and had 10 points against the Ravens. And that Ravens defense is terrible.
Yeah.
That Ravens defense sucks, and he still couldn't do anything against them. So my reason I'm saying that is this could very well happen. Okay, I very well could be wrong because this would be the first time I pick against the Chiefs all season. I had the Chiefs going 15-2 because I have them losing this game and losing the final game this season because they don't need that game. They're going to play all their backups, rest all their starters. Broncos win that game because they want to go out on a high note because I don't think the Broncos are making the playoffs. I know right now they're in the playoff picture, but they have a very tough schedule coming up.
Defense is great.
Yes, but I think it's going to come all down to
I think
earth.
they'll give us fits. I'm not going to lie.
They could.
Yeah.
I don't believe in Bo Nix.
I don't either, but that defense is going to give us fits.
So that's where I stand right now, guys. I want to hear your guys' thoughts on this. When is it the right time? Do you guys think it's fair to talk about it now? Do you guys think it's fair to talk about it in, week 13, 14, 15? Like, when is it, Trevor, when is the conversation to be had about can the Chiefs do it? When is your opinion?
Asking Chiefs fans to be patient when we're talking about 7-0 team, the only undefeated team left.
Right.
I mean, we're the only team to talk about that now.
But I have to ask the question back.
No,
because everybody's asking me.
No, that is the intellectual stance to have there. I mean, I think that's the rational stance to have. Like, dude, of course we're not going to go undefeated. It just doesn't happen, man.
You say of course, but what if they're 10-0 after Buffalo?
I'm not saying that's my stance, but I'm saying like that is the rational take. Just because we know the novelty, or not the novelty, but the parity that exists within football.
Because real quick,
injuries can happen. Things can happen, man. Any given Sunday, obviously we know the cliche, but it going undefeated, especially with an extra week now in football, is brutal. I mean, it's you're asking for damn possibility.
I want to get your answer, Trevor, on this, and everybody in the chat, please give me yours, and we can put it on the screen. But after at Buffalo, this is the Chiefs' remaining schedule: Panthers, Raiders, Chargers, Browns, Texans, Steelers, Broncos.
Browns look like more of a threat now, if I'm being honest. Now that Jameis is out there just chucking it, right? He's a wild card kind of guy. He can, we just saw him go.
Would you pick the Browns in that game?
No, no, because I know our defense would probably have 4 fucking picks against Jameis. Even though Jameis would probably throw five touchdowns with 4 interceptions, but they'd still lose.
The Texans would be coming to Kansas City in the middle of December, or actually late December, which means it's gonna be cold.
Yeah.
And they won't have Steph Diggs.
We know what the Chiefs do when it gets cold, baby.
Yeah, they won't have Steph Diggs. Their offensive line's atrocious, and they have a bad defense.
Yeah.
In Kansas City in that game, it's a primetime game, no less. It's a Saturday night game.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh's a Christmas game in Pittsburgh. Now it's a hostile environment, but Russell Wilson, I think at that point is going to be shown that he can't. I don't believe, Trevor, they beat up on bad teams.
Yeah.
The Steelers have been beating up on bad teams.
The Steelers are still, I mean, they're just one of those teams. But Patrick Mahomes always destroys the Steelers.
I know, dude.
It does not matter who is. It doesn't matter who's on the roster. It doesn't matter who's out there. I don't care if it's Mike Tomlin coaching his life out. This season he's been coaching his ass off this year. I love that guy, Mike Tomlin.
Yep.
That team's been awesome this year. And Russ has looked, honestly, pretty damn great. I'm not going to lie.
And I think, Trevor, honestly, the Chiefs themselves might use this because, like I said, I think they're also looking at that Bills game the same way. Yeah. But like, if we win that game, we're 10-0, and we look at the rest of our schedule.
Yeah.
That might give them that motive because we always hear like all they're worried about is the three-peat right now. They're not really worried about the schedule. This could be the history upon history for them because they can go, bro, we could go 17-0,
the unimaginable,
and hit three-peat.
The unimaginable, especially now that we're playing 18 weeks of football. That would be unbelievable.
That's why I'm waiting, Trevor, until that game. So where are you at?
No, I mean, honestly, when I was looking at the schedule to start the year when we were doing our predictions, I think I had us losing 3 games, and the 2 I was okay with us losing were the Bills, and I was okay with us losing to the Niners. Those are 2 teams that just have it out for us. We have a lot of history with. We can lose those teams in the regular season. We know we can always beat those guys when it matters. Yeah. So I'm fine with losing those 2 games. The Ravens would have been a game if we lost by 2-3 points. Fuck it, fine. You guys can have your trophy in the middle of the season, early part of the season, fine. We know when the time comes we need to beat you, we're going to do it. So I don't care about losing to those teams that really have it out for us that are, honestly, our biggest competitors for sure, or the Bengals for sure. But they're trash. So, yeah, man, I mean, it's definitely possible, but the odds are stacked against us. Just like I said, now that we play another extra week of football compared to what we used to, it's that much more difficult. And I do think, man, I think the last week week 18, I think we are going to be in position where we have the 1 seed locked up possibly, and we don't have to do that. And I think we could take that L and not worry about it, and that can ruin the whole. But like you talked about, like we talked about on this before, on and off the camera, if we do beat the Bills in week 10 and we're moving on, we're 10-0, you know, or we're 9-0, whatever. And
to be 10-0.
Yeah, 10-0. So and we keep racking up wins, man, and we're going into the last week of the year and we're undefeated. Is Andy Reid really going to rest his guys?
See, Julie asked that. Julie asked, we know they can, but will Andy do it?
Sure.
So this is what I'll say, Trevor, because
I don't think he will. I don't think it matters as much to Andy.
I agree with that to an extent.
Yeah, but
because he also knows how hard this team works.
Yeah.
And I don't think Andy wants to ever take away something that could be that special. I don't want to speak for Andy because maybe you're right. But here's my thing. If I'm Andy Reid, I play for it.
If I'm Andy Reid, you know what I think Andy Reid does, being the players coach that he is? I think he has a locker room meeting, and I think he asks his pillar players, Chris Jones, Travis Kelce, Patrick Mahomes, he brings them in front of the whole locker room and says, what do you guys want to do?
And what do you think
that sounds like something Andy Reid would do.
What do you think those guys would say?
Fuck. Do you remember when he was trying to take Patrick? My favorite clip of all time, by the way, Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs when they were trying
exactly where you're going.
When they were trying to take Patrick Mahomes out there. Fuck no. Fuck, I'll do it at halftime. But of course Patrick Mahomes is going to want to go undefeated. You know what I mean? But, bro, if I'm just being honest with myself, though, there's going to be a game against the Broncos or the Steelers. It's just we're going to have one of the – we can go beat the Bills, and we'll have one of those just letdown games against one of those teams we should beat.
That's fair.
That happens almost every year.
Sure. But here's the counter argument to that, because I don't want to make it sound like I'm arguing towards the fact they're going to go undefeated. Because I'm sticking to my guns right now. I think the Chiefs will lose a game or two.
Yeah.
But I'm making the argument because this team feels different.
It does.
Because last year their defense was so great, right? And they found ways to win 11 games, right? Yeah. But their offense was so bad because they had Travis Kelce and a developing Rashee Rice, right?
And we didn't have the running, and as good as Pacheco was last year, we didn't have the running game that we had.
Exactly.
Especially with Pacheco coming to
join.
Kareem
been better.
It's been fucking great.
Pacheco's awesome. I love Pacheco.
Yeah.
Kareem Hunt's better.
Yeah, he is.
And it's going to be amazing when they're finally playing together.
Yep.
But this is my point, Trevor, about this team in particular. You have a motivated DeAndre freaking Hopkins. Juju's back. You have Pacheco coming back. You already have Kareem Hunt in the stead with 4 touchdowns in 4 games. You have a developing Xavier Worthy. Like, there is much more on this offense.
Who's going to get better as the year goes on, guys?
Oh, and by the way,
Worthy's going to get better.
And by the way, the defense is still just as great, if not better. So,
and there's no press. There's no press. Go score a lot of points. Just play smart football and let that defense work.
Like, the team scoring 20 points last year was like, God damn, that was laborious.
We're getting Amenhu back. We're just adding Uche, bro.
Right.
And here's about to get better, bro.
Here's the other thing. Pacheco and Amenhu are in line to come back win for the Bills game.
Yeah. Man.
So here we are. Like I said, Trevor, the possibilities are real. I'm just trying to set the precedent and get prepared for this discussion.
Yeah, we don't need Pat to go be great.
If they go and beat the Bills in this game, no matter what the score is, how they do it, whatever, if they just win that game, money line style, they just win that game.
Yeah.
We have to have the discussion. That's my vote. Maybe other people feel different and say, no, we got to wait a little longer. Or no, Andy Reid won't do it. I heard Jeff Saturday talk about this just a week ago because they keep asking this question. They're already talking about it. The national media's already talking about it.
Of course.
And Jeff Saturday said,
we're the lone team that's undefeated. There was
a season, Trevor, where the Colts started off with 14-0. And that was back when they had 16 games. And Tony Dungy elected to rest starters. Yeah. And to this day, Jeff Saturday said, to this day, I'm angry about that.
See, because Tony's not a player's coach like Andy. I guarantee Andy would put it on Patrick Mahomes and Chris Jones and Travis Kelce and make that decision.
Yes.
And you know the answer to that.
Yes.
Yeah,
dude, here's the biggest reason why you're right. Because what happened last season,
Travis Kelce?
Well,
Travis Kelce
Chris Jones.
They give him, but that too, and Travis Kelce in the last week of the year when he could have got 1,000 yards. He's like, nah. They let him choose. They let him choose that.
And the other side of it was Chris Jones wanted to go and make his money because he can make an extra $1 million in a game that did not matter because the Chiefs were at the 3 seed no matter what. Andy Reid still let him do what? Play a half. He said, you better finish in this first half.
He's a player's coach.
And he let him do it.
Yeah, he lets the leaders choose that kind of stuff.
I'm telling you right freaking now, dude, if they're 12-13-0, and they know that they already got the 1 seed locked up by that time, because if they go 12-13-0, and then they're 13-0, they got the 1 seed locked up. Because everybody else right now, because that means they would beat the Bills. The Bills would have a three losses to that point.
Yeah.
And that's just that they just lost to the Chiefs. They beat the Dolphins.
Sure.
And that's all they have. Let's just say that's 3 losses. Then you have the Ravens already have 3 losses, and you have the tiebreaker on both those teams.
Yeah.
The Chiefs would essentially have 4 games on those teams at 13-0. You're winning the 1 seed. If you're 13-0.
Yeah.
So yes, Andy might have the incentive saying, let's start resting guys. But you can't fuck with history.
Yeah.
Andy Reid has been around too long.
Yeah, I mean, how sick would you? I mean,
he's been around too long, dude.
But at the same time, I can see
morale
Andy
matters.
Reid going and winning with the backups though too.
And maybe he would.
Carson Wentz? You gonna tell me Carson Wentz going to go get it
I'll
done?
be real with you right now. I think that
Imagine that.
I
we
think
go
after the
undefeated with
Bills
Carson
game,
Wentz finishing the season.
I bet after the Bills game, if they said, "Hey, Pat, you're sitting out. We're playing the Panthers with Carson Wentz," they'd win. They'd still win.
Crazy,
Carson Wentz would still go off on that team.
That'd be nuts.
That's how bad the Panthers are and how good of a backup Carson Wentz is.
What a flex that would be, bro.
I'm just, and maybe we can take a vote here, but I'm telling you, Trevor, I think the chat's agreeing with us here.
Yeah.
I truly believe that Andy Reid's going to let them go for the history. I think he's going to because this might be Travis Kelce's last rodeo.
Not only for the players, but dude, Andy Reid.
If
he does that, and they go in the Super Bowl and go undefeated,
when we think back in 20 years,
he's the GOAT.
Yes, if we think back 20 years from now, and they talk about the greatest dynasties ever, they could say undefeated 17-0 season, Super Bowl champ three-peat.
Yeah, the Patriots had two different chances to go 3-0, a 3 in a row. They had one back-to-back twice, right?
No.
So, they only won one back-to-back. They could have won 3 in a row. They didn't do that, and they went undefeated, and they failed in the postseason. So, if
and
we
the
could
Dolphins
do
were the only
knock
team.
out a fish in a barrel situation.
The 72 Dolphins, the only team to go undefeated for an entire season. They went 17-0 with the postseason included.
Right.
The Chiefs can be 20-0. 20-0.
Bro.
With a three-peat attached. There's no way Andy Reid sits them.
So much nudity.
There's no way.
So much nudity.
There's no way Andy Reid sits the guys. So that's my vote, guys. I say 10-0. If they get to 10-0, we have to have this discussion. So let's wait till then. I just wanted to preface it, get your guys' vibes on this, get Trevor's vibes on it, and you guys get my vibes, my official statement on it, because I had a ton of you guys ask me questions, a ton of people in real life, in person, interacting with me on this, and I will stand firm on that. The Bills game is the 6th inning. When the manager's like looking at his pitching staff, he's like, we're going to let this dude ride it out, man. He's going to go for the no-hit. Andy Reid as the manager would say, look into Spags, look into everybody else saying, we're going for the undefeated season.
Going 20-0 is definitely on the bingo card for sure, man. For sure. It's fun to talk about, but if that becomes a reality, man, I don't even know how to react to that.
Right.
Just tears and nudity.
Pure nudity.
The
only thing we'd be wearing is a smile.
Bro.
Straight up.
No, that'd be wild.
Speaking of Andy Reid, there was a cool picture that came up the other day. It was actually yesterday, I believe. Yeah. If we can put that up real quick, Trevor. This shows Andy Reid just how great he's been as a head coach. So as you can see right here, essentially Andy Reid has had 2 different Hall of Fame careers. Literally. He's like the Tom Brady of head coaches. If you look at his 14 years in Philadelphia, he was well on his way to being a Hall of Fame head coach. He already had 130 wins, he had a Super Bowl appearance in just 14 seasons. Then he comes to Kansas City for the last 12 years, has been even better. With 3 Super Bowl wins attached. Now, I tweeted this out, but I didn't tweet it out with saying like, oh, Andy Reid's had 2 Hall of Fame careers, even though that's the facts. I simply put 3 words. The Mahomes effect. Andy Reid's career is a perfect example of what it means to have the guy at the helm. Because of the fact that Andy Reid was able to still win at a high level. And Trevor and I had a little bit of a debate, what was it, a couple weeks ago. I very much believe that Bill Belichick is a very overrated head coach. Not to say he's not a genius at building and constructing and leading defenses, because he is. The man is unbelievably great at constructing defenses. There's a reason why some of the greatest defenses of all time have been underneath his tutelage. The man knows football. The man is awesome at building and constructing defenses. There's a reason why Lawrence Taylor was so great, not because of his individuality. It's because Bill Belichick built those defenses in New York all those years ago. The Patriots had great defenses for 20 straight freaking seasons. They never had a defense from 2000 to 2020 that dipped below 17th overall. Literally. That is insane consistency. Having said that, Bill Belichick, if you look at his career with and without Tom Brady, it is literally night and day. And this is why I always give Andy Reid the edge over Bill Belichick, not just because he's an offensive-minded coach, which I lean heavier on anyway, but also the fact that even with Kevin Kolb and Donovan McNabb and Michael Vick after prison and any of these other, Coy Detmer, Jeff Garcia, and no matter who his quarterbacks were, he was winning 10, 12, 13 games, and he got to a Super Bowl before Patrick Mahomes ever was here. So that's the credit that Andy deserves. But we know why there's 3 Super Bowls attached to him in 12 years in Kansas City and 0 with 14 years in Philadelphia. It's because he finally got his Tom Brady. He finally got his guy. That's why that's why it's no coincidence that, because Andy Reid didn't all of a sudden just become a better coach in year 20. It wasn't like it took him 20 years to become this great coach. He's always been a great coach. The difference is now he's the guy that gives him the edge because he's always going against the guys that have the edge. He was always going against the Peyton Mannings. Yeah. He was always going against the Tom Brady's. He was always going against the Ben Roethlisbergers. He was always going against those guys. Now he's got his. And that's why he's hosted the last 7-8 AFC championships. That's why he's gone to 4 Super Bowls in 5 years. That's why he's won 3 Super Bowls in the last 5 years. Because he's finally got the guy that's the generational dude. And that is why Andy Reid, I saw old Trevor, Jeremy Fowler, great reporter, had a conversation with Clark Hunt this last week. And Clark Hunt emphasized, Andy Reid is not retiring anytime soon. Yeah. That's why he signed an extension through 2029.
Yeah, I've seen no decline.
That's another 5 seasons, right? He will that will put him to year 70 of him still coaching. And that is where I think Andy Reid will go to. And maybe he'll keep coaching after that because we've seen plenty of coaches going to their 70s. Yeah. Pete Carroll's done it. Bill Belichick's done it. Bruce Arians has done it.
Damn old, too.
Don Shula did it. Yeah. I mean, several coaches have done it, man. I think even Bill Walsh did. I don't remember. He was pretty old, too.
Yeah.
The point I'm trying to make, though, is I'm so sick of this conversation that's being had about Andy Reid. He's going nowhere. Patrick Mahomes is 29 years old. Why would you walk away from that? Even when Travis Kelce retires, even when Chris Jones declines, you have an absolute brainiac at GM. You have an owner that stays the hell out of the way and lets you run things. He has the perfect situation in Kansas City. How many teams, Trevor, throughout history, you say has the best quarterback of all time, has a GM that is unbelievably just beyond his years smart, and has an owner that doesn't what Jerry Jones does and wants all the credit.
And it has the best DC in football.
Dude, thank you.
The nucleus is freaking ridiculous.
We've never
here,
seen this before.
Yeah.
What the Chiefs have right now has never been done before. It's never been done before.
Yeah.
That is why Andy Reid has found the youth.
Yeah, it's a very rare situation.
He found that. And to Andy's credit, he's always been a player's coach, like you were mentioning earlier, a guy that adjusts. He wears his Air Force Ones, and he listens to. Remember, he was talking about listening to like Jay-Z and stuff like that.
He got the best out of Alex Smith.
He's
got the
learning
best football out of him.
And he learns how to relate to the dudes. Even though he's 40, 50 years than most of his players, he still finds ways to be funny. Where's the Santa outfit? Yeah. Has the cheeseburger in the Nike box. Like, funny stuff, man. Like, this guy stays vibrant and young. Yes. You saw, dude, fucking DeAndre Hopkins' first game with the Chiefs after that game in Las Vegas. Mrs. Reed, Andy Reid's wife, giving a hug and a kiss to D-Hop. Yeah. He's been with the team for a cup of coffee, and he already feels like family. That's what it's different here. Kareem Hunt talked about when he came back. He goes, it still smells the same. It's different here. Yes.
Andy Reid has a culture with him, man.
Even like they said, like the cafeteria members, like the people that work in there all have vibrant personalities. Yeah. It's different in Kansas City, dude. And it all started with Andy Reid. It all started with Clark Hunt going and getting him. But the winning side of things is the Mahomes effect. It's the difference in what we're seeing at quarterback.
Perfect storm.
It's the perfect storm, man. Yeah. So I wanted to put that stat out there and show you guys just how incredible Andy Reid has been and how it's no coincidence, like I said, that when he finally got the guy, what do you know? The greatest coach of all time, who I believe Andy Reid will finish as.
I think he is.
I think he's going to finish the greatest ever. I think he's going to finish with maybe the second most wins of all time because I don't think he's going to catch the number one. I think it's like 352. I think he's at like 271 right now. I don't think he's going to get that. Maybe he will, though. Who knows? I mean, maybe the Chiefs go 14-3 for the next 5 years. He probably could. But regardless, I think he's going to end with 5, 6, 7 championships. I really do. I really do believe that I think I told you guys there is a better chance. I said this before the season. I said there's a better chance that Patrick Mahomes finishes with 7+ Super Bowls than never wins another one. I really believe that.
Yeah, I agree with that.
100% believe that.
I agree with that.
I think he's going to win 7+.
Because I not only because of the greatness of Patrick Mahomes, but I think the aggressiveness of this front office and Brett Veach and them refusing to just take years off.
Yes.
We're not in that fucking business.
And they built that defense.
There's not going to be a 10-year
years.
gap like the Patriots dynasties. That's not going to happen here.
Right.
As long as Patrick Mahomes is healthy, as long as Andy Reid's here, as long as Patrick Mahomes got weapons, as long as Spag is coaching this defense, bro, we are not taking years off. So good luck of anybody trying to think of we're going to go even 2-3 years or we're not competing for Super Bowls. I think we're going to compete all the way through Patrick Mahomes' career, bro.
Right.
And that's, I mean, the whole entire sample size of his since he first stepped onto the gridiron has shown that, right? We were a play away from the Super Bowl his first time as a starter. So, I mean, this is what we do. This is what Patrick Mahomes is. So, yeah. I'm right there with you, bro.
Just wanted to throw that out there. But in order for the Chiefs to get to that three-peat and maybe an undefeated season, they got to take on a team this year or this week that otherwise has been an absolute juggernaut offensively. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, a team that
banged up team.
Initially came into this matchup, I was thinking, man, this is going to be a sparks flying kind of game.
Baker's looking like an MVP candidate.
Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, two wide receiver ones on one team. Not many teams have that type of talent at wide receiver.
A nice three-headed running back room.
𝚂𝙿𝙾𝙺 been a really good tight end this year. Yeah, Bucky Irvin and Rachaad White, who both have been banged up. I think Bucky Irving, if I'm not mistaken, John Harrison put it in the comments. Bucky Irvin didn't practice much this week.
Yeah,
it don't matter.
It don't matter.
And the BUCS come into this matchup with a very, very bad defense, too. Yeah. And that's something very weird, too, Trevor.
Specifically their secondary is awful.
I did say this, though, before the season. The reason why I had the BUCS at 9-8, just missing the playoffs, was their defense. I said this defense is going to be really bad this year, and that's going to be weird for a Todd Bowles defense. You know what I mean? Because most of his defenses are great. Now, Kevin Ross
against the run, they're typically almost always incredible against the run.
Now, I previously mentioned Kevin Ross, the Chiefs' former Hall of Famer. He's now the DB's coach for the Buccaneers.
Oh, wow,
he works with Todd Bowles. And I asked, as a side note, just as a sidebar, I was like, Todd Bowles is a very stoic man. He doesn't really show. He doesn't go high or low with his personality or his
very
emotions.
Neutral.
I said, Kevin, let us in a little bit. Todd Bowles is a funny guy, isn't he? He started cracking up. I want you guys to go watch the clip. He's like, that man's hilarious.
Yeah.
I just like knowing stuff like that.
That's typically how it goes, bro.
Yeah, he said he's a quiet dude, but he's got the greatest jokes.
He probably listens and gets dirt on everybody and starts probably calling everybody out on their shit. Yeah.
So I'm a big Todd Bowles guy, but this has been a very un-Todd Bowles-like season.
Yeah.
Their defense has been got a lot, guys, and it's forced Baker Mayfield to a lot of turnovers because he's had to play hero ball a lot of times. That Ravens game alone proved that.
Yeah.
I think that this is a game, Trevor, and I'm just going to get right to it. I don't want to waste a lot of time because I want to get to people to speak it. I don't want to sound anticlimactic, but I brought this up in Arrowhead Allies this week. The Chiefs are 9.5-point favorites, and I'm hammering the number. And here's the biggest reason why.
Which is crazy for the Chiefs because, typically that's throwing away money because we don't cover big spreads like that.
What was I amplifying in that Raiders-Chiefs recap? That you saw the chemistry very quickly between D-Hop and Patrick Mahomes, right?
Yeah.
You saw that Travis Kelce's starting to gear it up a little bit. That Kareem Hunt stays consistent. They're finding ways to manufacture points. Sure, 5 of the 7 games this season, the Chiefs have scored at least 25 points. Like, as frantic as we've been about their offense, they've actually been very consistent.
Had a couple defensive touchdowns there too. Yeah.
You know they have the highest percentage in the NFL in scoring drives? They have per drive,
not touchdowns, but
but scoring. They score points.
We live in the opposition's territory. Yes, for sure.
I think, Trevor, I think the D-Hop situation. People are, and I know that I was the Paul Revere of all this that was telling people this when these happened. I'm telling you right now, I'm staking my flag in it, Trevor. This is the turning point of the season for the Chiefs. D-Hop's acquisition is going to bring 3 to 4 more points per game on the Chiefs offense.
You think he's worth that much?
He's worth that much. And the biggest reason why is, again, it's not even going to be about his.
I think Kareem Hunt's been worth that much so far.
Maybe so.
Here's
imagine for a season without him. Okay.
Yeah.
But now you have Kareem Hunt and you have D-Hop, Isaiah Pacheco coming back. You have all these things coming back, which excites me. Hollywood Brown back in December will be back.
Possibly, yeah.
It sounded really good. It's not even just about D-Hop's production individually. It's about what I said about the Raiders game. He only had 2 catches for 29 yards. But you saw
those
the fear.
Were sexy.
You saw the fear. You saw the fear in how that Raiders defense played.
Yeah.
How many times, Trevor, you saw Travis Kelce getting one-on-ones against linebackers?
In that touchdown too, he had one-on-one and snuck that shit.
Xavier Worthy on the outside scoring the most touchdowns amongst all wide receivers right now, or close to.
That's the spooky one for defense.
So you have that one-on-one. Yeah, you have this developing burner on the outside.
Put X on a fucking island.
You have DeAndre freaking Hopkins, who's going to have a gold jacket one day, who's motivated as ever to play his best football.
Yep.
And you have Travis Kelce on one-on-ones with linebackers. Trevor.
And Noah Gray, but
don't
forget about my guy Noah Gray.
You know I give respect to Noah Gray. He's a role player. He's a role player. I'm just talking about the dudes right now that are dudes.
Yeah.
So the Buccaneers defense, who have just absolutely been struggling in pass defense, especially, I think they're like 29th or 30th in pass defense. Patrick Mahomes is catching stride, like you said.
Yep.
The Chiefs' offensive line has been one of the best in the league. I'm looking at this matchup. I'm saying 9.5. I think the Chiefs deserve more than that right now. I know that sounds nuts. But this BUCS team is coming in here without their 2 best wide receivers. Bucky Irving is banged up. Rachaad White's been banged up seemingly all season.
Sterling
their
Shepard's
offensive line's banged up. Yeah, like they have 𝚂𝙿𝙾𝙺 and a bunch of dudes right now. So you're going to have to tell me.
That McMillan kid, though. He's nice.
I understand people say, well, the Bills are next week. Maybe the Chiefs are looking ahead. Guys, that's not how the Chiefs operate.
Yeah.
The Chiefs are not one of those teams that looks ahead. They play one. They literally are the team when they say that we take it one game at a time. They are literally that team.
Yeah.
That is their coaching staff. That is how this team is too experienced. Even though they're young, they have too much experience in games like this to know how to handle it. It's a Monday night game at home. I know that people are like, well, yeah, it's going to be one of those typical games. I don't buy it this time, Trevor.
Yeah.
Because if you notice, against teams that have been banged up this year, what did the Chiefs do? They took care of business. The Saints game. What'd they do against Derek Carr?
Yeah.
When he was still healthy. Beat him by 13. Like, that Saints team was missing Willie Gay and a couple other guys. They were missing, I think, Chris Olave, if I'm not mistaken, or was he on the game? I forget.
He was in. No, he played that game.
Well, they shut him down. They shut him
He had
down.
like, what, 2 catches?
I don't want to sound overly optimistic here, Trevor, but I'm telling you, the Chiefs are going to pour it on in this game. And the defense is so great. Even with Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, I'd be confident this defense would keep them to 20 points. But now they're both gone, and Baker's going to have to make like I was listening to Mitchell Schwartz yesterday on 96.5, The Fan, and he was saying, he goes, this is now an offense that has to have Baker Mayfield making a lot of really good decisions, which he's a good quarterback. You know I like the Bake Show.
Yeah.
He can do his thing. But now it's going to come. It's
he's
basically
a risk taker, though.
Yeah,
Man.
but it's basically Baker Mayfield versus Spags. Give me Spags.
Yeah.
By
Give me
KO.
that game of chicken. We already know who's winning that one.
Yeah, and maybe the Bucks come out and they strike early and get 7 points.
Could.
Quick.
Baker's been great. This year.
Scripted drive. That new OC that replaced Canales is actually pretty good.
Oh, they haven't missed a beat.
But we know what Spags does. Oh, I've seen it. I see your best. I see that right hook. Okay, now we know how to counter it.
Yeah.
Now that's when he starts to blitz because Baker's actually not been good against the blitz.
Yeah.
That's Spags, especially all these exotic blitzes.
Just not having Mike Evans out there just gives me like
Yeah, exactly.
I don't have to worry about Mike Evans,
and to be
bro.
honest with you, Chris Godwin's been their best receiver
For
this
sure,
season.
but Mike Evans is beat our ass.
Scary as fuck.
Yeah,
yes.
so like I just that guy is such an alpha, bro. I just get not having him on the field is like we can let Chris Godwin eat underneath. That's fine, but like so I mean, but I want to give John Harrison his moment here. He gave us the numbers. The Bucs defense is 30th in yardage, 387 a game, just ahead of Carolina, 387.5. They gave up 131 rushing yards, 255 passing yards. Last week to Atlanta, they gave up 129 rushing yards, 265 passing yards, similar to their average. So they're consistently just bending over.
Yes, the Chiefs are catching the Bucs at the perfect time, not just because the Bucs are down, because the Chiefs are rising. They're catching stride with D-Hop second week into the system. Travis Kelce playing his best football. Running back healthy with Kareem Hunt. Offensive line playing well. Well, I will say this as a sidebar. For the love of Christ, can Andy Reid put in Kingsley? Wanya Morris was ass cheeks on a stick.
He was getting destroyed
against the Raiders.
It could have been even uglier if Kingsley was out there. We don't know, but it was a rough outing for Wanya for sure. I'll say it this way though, like when it comes to this game, I'm torn because this does feel like a moment where, do we want Patrick to just go light them up and kind of get right and really just have a 4-touchdown game where Pat can go, get some not pad his stats, but get out there and just really get his rhythm going because the last couple weeks I've liked what I've seen. The numbers haven't really been there for Pat.
Yeah.
But like I really love the way Pat kind of has that look in his eyes again. That's what I love with the runs and the things he's been doing. The the intangible things that he's done. He's looked really confident the last couple weeks. Do they let him go out there and just light it up and just go nutso against that secondary that's just been laying down for everybody else? Or do we just go out there, ho-hum, win 24-17, take care of business, and not have to go out there and, put up 30+ against these guys? I'm more on the latter, to be honest. I think this is just a business trip and go take care of business and not have to really, and just let this defense just get after Baker and let him force him to make mistakes and just go get this win. We got bigger games to worry about, and we got guys coming back, so just keeping everybody healthy, not losing any more bodies. I think that's the approach we take here. I don't think this is a game where we really need to go win by 10, 15 points. In my personal opinion, I think we can go win by 6 or 7 and be fine with that.
Well, let me put these stats out real quick because I think these do matter in these games. So Patrick Mahomes in his career against NFC opponents is 28-5.
Yeah.
He averages 288 yards. He has 63 touchdowns, only 19 interceptions, with a 99 quarterback rating against NFC opponents.
Yeah, I want to see us not having turnovers. That's my biggest thing that I'm looking for in this game.
Why I bring up those stats, Trevor, is because I think we're now, like I said, we're back. We're kind of in that. Because I know Nick Wright, he says Chiefs are just in their winning era.
Sure.
And I get that. I don't care about style points right now.
Yeah.
But I do, dude, like I said 20-ish minutes ago, I do think that Patrick wants to get back in the MVP discussion.
Yeah.
And I think this is that kind of game where if he goes up and throws 4 or 5 touchdowns, which I think he could, then you're talking about him being right back in the MVP discussion. Because then he would have
And you already know that the prime time narrative helps everything too.
Oh,
when
God.
When you're the lone team in the whole country, the world's watching
and
you.
the Chiefs dropped like 40 points. If they drop like 40 points
Vegas
in this game.
You already know.
That's what I'm saying, dude. If they blow out the
He's
Bucks
still
team.
second. He's second the odds.
Yeah,
MVP.
that's what I'm saying. But if he goes and throws, for 295 yards and 4 touchdowns, or 330 yards and 3 touchdowns, whatever it is.
Well, especially with Lamar coming off that loss
stinker against the Browns. Yeah, man. Yeah. And again, everybody says they want to do that before the Bills game. Yes, actually, I think it's a great idea to do that before the Bills game. You know why? Because the Bills are a very mentally weak team. And if they see the Chiefs do that before they come to Buffalo,
especially against us,
you don't think their buttholes are puckering?
Yeah.
You know, because they already are terrified of the Chiefs, whether their fans want to admit it or not. I love Bills Mafia, but let's be real.
There's bad juju against
They're terrified of the Chiefs.
Yeah.
And if Josh Allen is watching that standalone game knowing Daddy's coming to home in a week, and Daddy just put 3 or 4 touchdowns on the Buccaneers, and he's coming to Buffalo in 6 days, you know that Josh Allen and those dudes are going to have to oh shit, I got to play superhero.
Don't get it twisted, bro. That's what I want to happen. I want Pat to throw 4 or 5 touchdowns.
Yeah.
I want that to happen so bad, bro. Then Kelsey, grab 2 and D-Hop grab 1 and Kareem Hunt maybe catch 1 and rush 1. Who knows? I want to see a dominant performance of course, bro. It's been fun seeing the Packers have big blow up games. The Detroit's had a couple damn near 50 plus games.
Yeah.
It's fun. I mean, as a fan, that's what you want to see. You want to see fireworks, you know what I mean? So even if it's like a defensive touchdown and Pat still throws 3 or something like that, fuck, bro, run it up.
You ready for my prediction?
Let's go.
No, so I made my Travis Kelce prediction last week. Nailed it. D-Hop, 5 catches, 86 yards, and a touchdown.
Okay.
I'm saying that right now. 5 catches, 86 yards, touchdown. So you obviously know who one of my key players is.
That's your offensive guy.
That's my offensive guy.
Yeah.
My defensive guy, and look, this is gonna sound early, but it's gonna be Uche. He's going to play this week. And I'm predicting he gets a sack in this game.
Unleash him.
He gets a sack in this game.
Open the gates.
Yes, he's going to be a guy that early in this, I said it, day one dude.
Especially
really.
if Dana's out. Mike Dana's going to be out.
John, please check it for us if you could, brother.
Yeah.
But I think Mike Dana is out again.
That's an opportunity.
Opportunities. Yeah. I think that, Mr. Uche is going to get in there. He's only going to play for like 15 to 20 some snaps, but he's going to get a sack on Baker Mayfield, maybe on like a third down, or maybe a strip sack, something like that. Uche is going to be my guy on the defense. I know that sounds wild for some new guy, but I think he's going to be the dude. So my guy, offense, D-Hop, and I went first. I'm sorry, but yeah.
No.
That Uche. So who are your guys?
Okay, so offensively, man, and I've been on all week. This is going to be Xavier Worthy's best game of his career so far.
Okay.
He has a Xavier Worthy blow-up game all over it. You want to talk about run up the score? I mean, we can go score 30 at half if this kid blows up in the first half. We know he can do. It takes 4 plays, can have 4 touchdowns.
Yeah.
So he's going to score 2 touchdowns.
Right.
I think he can have.
There we go.
I think he can have a rushing one, dude. And his speed against that secondary.
Yeah.
It is a nightmare.
Yeah.
That is a nightmare matchup. I know D-Hop is going to be the guy that's going to eat.
Yeah.
He's probably going to have more catches. But as far as touches and efficiency with those touches, Xavier Worthy is one of the best in the league already at doing that. He has 5 touchdowns on the year. He's top 5 in touchdowns overall in receivers. So this kid hasn't even had really great games yet.
Yeah.
Starting out the gates, he looked great, but he had 4 touches and scored 3 touchdowns. So I think if this kid you get him 7 to 10 touches in this game, there's 2 to 3 touchdowns written all over that.
Well, can I tell you real quick?
After the catch, what he can do after the ball is in his hands is.
Can I tell you why I love your prediction? Is because of the fact that we've also been hearing, because we know the Bucs defense is predicated on the blitz.
Yeah.
And Pat eats against the blitz.
Dump it off to Xavier Worthy.
Exactly.
Or an
little
indirect
quick
jet
screen.
sweep.
Yes, jet sweeps.
Screen.
You actually could be nails on this one, where it's more of an Xavier Worthy game. I like D-Hop for the possession style thing in red zone.
And I think that's distracting to that defense. I think those defenses are going to really be keying on D-Hop not eating, or Kelsey not eating.
Yeah.
Xavier Worthy's going to be bursting over. Dude, you give him a one-on-one downfield.
Right.
I think he can score so quickly and so much in bunches in different ways. I think this is the game where he puts the league on notice, I think, this week.
Well, if I said to you, Trevor, Patrick Mahomes touchdowns in this game, 2.5 over under, what would you say?
Patrick Mahomes 2.5. Oof. I think in this game you have to take the over.
Okay. So,
I think Pat can accidentally throw 4.
Right. So you're saying at least 3 touchdowns in this game.
Yeah.
I mean, one of those is going to have to go to Worthy, in my opinion.
Because I think I think this defense is going to put us in good position. I think they're going to force a couple turnovers on Baker. They can give us good fieldage position.
Yeah.
And I think Pat's going to have opportunity after opportunity to throw tutties.
Yes.
So I think three touchdowns. I'll be putting money on it this week for sure to take that, but I think 3 touchdowns is likely for Patrick Mahomes this week for sure. And I think Xavier Worthy is going to be a massive part of that. I think D-Hop definitely could. Travis Kelce No one's going to be able to stop Travis Kelce in this game. They do not have the guys that can stop him. I don't care who. I know that they've had matchups against Travis Kelce in the past, but this is just a nightmare matchup for this Bucs team, especially knowing the fact that they can't expect Baker to go out there and light the world on fire like he has against a lot of other teams that have lackluster defenses. This defense is going to get after Baker, and they're going to force him into a lot of mistakes. Spags is going to be on his game in this one with the stunts and blitzes. George Kaloptis is my guy defensively in this game. I think the last 3-4 weeks, George is really he's been getting better and I know it sounds like he's getting better. He's already a guy that's entrenched in this culture and this defense. He should be a dog already. He started off slow this year. George hasn't looked too good the first 3 weeks of the season. But the last few weeks, especially the last 3 weeks, George has been awesome.
Right.
George has been so damn good. He's been an absolute menace. And I think he's going to be all over Baker Mayfield in this game. And that offensive line that's banged up still, I think he is going to wreak havoc against this defensive line or this offensive line. Obviously, Chris Jones can go have another massive game as well. Both those guys are massive disruptors. I love the Uche talk. I love the Uche take. I love that. I think that would be incredible to see that kid get off in week one of him being a Chief. But I think he'll be more of a package player. I think those packages could be good. Spags could draw up some things for that kid and his athleticism for sure. He can get home on some plays. But George has been just weekly just looking dangerous every week, and I'm loving what I'm seeing out of him. He's playing with some real momentum right now, and I love that. So I'm going with George. I think he gets a sack or two, man. I think George balls out in this game.
This is only the second. I don't know if you knew this, Trevor. This is only the Chiefs' second home game in the last 7 weeks. Yeah. It's been almost 2 months. And they've only had 2 home games. Yeah. They had the Bengals game, or I didn't realize that. The Saints game on Monday Night Football. That was their last home game. That was a month ago.
Wow.
It's been a month since the Chiefs have been back to Arrowhead.
So this is just this is the worst. Everything we're talking about. This is the worst situation for the Bucs, bro.
Yeah, and what happened in that game? Remember against the Saints? Spot. It was Kareem Hunt's first game back home.
Yeah,
he got a touchdown, and then you see this is gonna be D-Hop's first game at Arrowhead as a Chief.
Well, and then the history between Baker and Pat. That's another reason to think Pat's gonna go light him up.
Yeah,
because Pat and Baker
they have a rivalry.
Not just
a college rivalry.
Not just that, the games they play each other. It's always fireworks. I think the Bucs can go put up some points. I don't think they're going to go put up 20 plus because that's just not what we allow in our house. But I can see it being competitive for a while, and then Pat just putting this game away in the second half, just going off, similar to like what Aaron Rodgers did in this past game against the Texans. Just kind of fuck you, I'm going to go put this game away.
Yeah,
Pat can definitely have one of those moments, especially against like I said, it's not bad blood between those guys, but they're competitive with each other. You know what I mean? So they know each other well. They're competitive pricks with each other, and they have some fun. But I think this. You're more and more we talk about it, you're more convincing me that this is going to be a Pat blow-up spot. And, my Xavier Worthy take, I think, could be married to that. So I like it, man.
I love the Chiefs minus 9.5 in this game, guys. If you're a betting person out there, I would highly recommend.
Pair that with Pat going to 2.5 touchdowns.
Chiefs minus 9.5. I would take Patrick's yards, touchdowns. I would take a D-Hop, anytime touchdown. I would say at least 70 yards for D-Hop. Trevor convinced me on the Xavier Worthy. I think you should take his total yards. Yeah. And I think right now his rushing receiving is probably like 51.5.
Bro, hammer. So I would honestly tease it up to like 80.
Yeah, I would say that this might be a Xavier Worthy blow-up game. I don't know how I feel about Travis yet. Back-to-back big games. I don't know.
Well, and they have some good
I would say
linebackers that can bump and but this could be a sneaky Noah Gray game too.
Yeah, I could say I think right now if I'm gonna make a Travis prediction,
Noah Gray's been weeklies getting more and more opportunity.
I'm gonna say Travis Kelce. If I'm gonna make a prediction, Trevor, I'm gonna say 5-6 catches for 62 yards.
Get a few first downs.
Yeah, I don't know if he's gonna get a touchdown this week.
Yeah,
because I think the Bucs are gonna try to focus on him.
This just feels like an unfair matchup with the speed of Xavier Worthy against that secondary, who's just been giving it up to far less athletes.
And
now Xavier Worthy gonna get in space.
And we have to also remember, Trevor, that Kareem Hunt, like I said, 4 games, 4 touchdowns. Does he extend that streak? You know what I mean? Because the Bucs have been terrible against the run, too.
Kareem with one for sure.
They've been horrible against the run, too, like you said. So, I mean...
Or even just a dump off to Kareem, he can get in the crib for that, too.
There's a lot. Andy Reid could pick his teeth, man. I'm telling you
this is a terrible matchup for the Bucs, bro.
Like I said, I would hammer the 9.5. I know there's the backdoor, cover where the Bucs might score some late touchdown and put it within 8 or something like that.
Last week against the Raiders.
I don't think it's going to be that close.
Sure.
I don't think the Bucs score 20 in this game. I know Baker's going to probably throw 45 times in this game.
Yeah, I mean, who's he throwing it to?
Exactly.
Especially with Rashad White's out. That's brutal.
Oh, Bucky Irving. They're saying Bucky Irving. He might be out.
Oh, so Rashad White should be good to go. Yeah. Rashad White's the only guy I'm really worried about because we struggle against those dump
off screens.
Yeah, like with what's his name with the Ravens in week 2 when we faced
Justice Hill.
Yeah, Justice Hill. Or week 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, those kind of guys eat against us. So those are the kind of guys I worry about more. But then again,
Red zone stuff, though,
we tighten up when it comes to red zone, bro.
Right.
We ain't letting you get in the end zone. So
yeah, I'm gonna. Well, I mean, what would you say right now? If your score prediction would be?
I mean, the more I talk about it, and if I think Xavier Worthy can go score 2, and I think Kareem Hunt will get 1 for sure.
Yeah.
That's 3 touchdowns right there, and I think there's a good chance we can get a defensive touchdown, or at least get a pick that brings us back into the red zone. So we'll have a lot of scoring opportunities in this game. I'm gonna say the Chiefs win 30-17.
Yeah,
I like it, man.
I'm right around the same area as you. I said on Arrowhead Allies 28-14. But I'm getting greedy.
30 feels good.
Yeah, I think the Chiefs. I think they finally.
Yeah.
Because I don't think they're going to go all season out
prime
30
time
points.
at home, bro. Like 30 feels good.
And I think yeah, this is that game. Like I said, dude, right before they play the a divisional foe with the Bills, and then the Bills after that. Like,
Even if it's just 3 touchdowns and Bucker goes and gets a couple field goals,
yeah,
we'll get there.
I think the Chiefs are going to score over 30 in this game. I'm going to up it a little bit. I'm going to give the Bucks 3 more points too. I think the Chiefs win this game 34-17.
Yeah.
That feels right. I think that Bucker gets a couple field goals, but Chiefs score 4 touchdowns. Yeah. And I think there's even a chance we do see Carson Wentz at the end of the game, where it's it's out of touch. It's like 34-10, and then the Bucks get that last touchdown at the end of the game. Just kind of like trying to make it look closer. Something like kind of like what the Raiders game was. But this is a game, like I said, the Chiefs just dominate NFC opponents. I think this is that game, Trevor, where we start. This is what's going to be the conversation on Tuesday morning on Get Up. Did Patrick Mahomes take over the MVP? They're 8-0 now. Patrick just had his best game of the season with 320 passing yards and 3 touchdowns, 4 touchdowns. Is he the MVP right now? Like, that's going to be the conversation. So, I'm going to say 34-17. I feel great about that. I'm telling you guys right now, if you're bettors, hammer the Chiefs minus 9.5. You will thank me.
Noah chimed in and said he said 30-16 on Allies.
Yes, he did. I will give Noah credit for that.
Mine's 30-17, so I'm right there with you. Same ballpark, man. I think 30 is that 30 feels good.
Fucking Noah. He said something at the end of the show too. It was hilarious. He even tagged us in it on social media. He said, "I don't like to cuss."
Oh yeah, dude, that was fucking great.
But
I like
Buck
that. Yeah.
the fucks.
Come on, man. That's so good. That's gold,
I didn't know he was gonna say that, so I
he's going to hell for that now. He's cursed, but yeah, that's good shit.
I don't like to cuss, but Buck the fucks. That was hilarious, dude. Well done, dude. So that's our score. Let us know what your guys' scores are. We'd very much appreciate you guys letting us know where you see this game going, how you see it going. Key players, whatever you guys got for us, man. Let us know in the chat. We'd very much appreciate it because it's perfect time to do so. Because now it is time for Speak It. Trevor, what are the people asking us?
All right, man. So we got a solid amount in here. Not too many, but enough to get us going here. We got our guy who jumped right in the show from the jump, and I put him in here. Our guy Henrique.
Yo.
Are the Chiefs going 17-0 or 15-0, and then they lose the last 2 at the moment of their choosing, so to speak?
Well, I think if they're 15-0, I think they're going to go like I said. I think if we're at that point, the Chiefs are going to still be playing for perfection. I think coaches owe their team that opportunity. Now maybe the Chiefs just outwardly lose a game. They're 15-0 and they just. I think that'd be the Texans or the Steelers. Who would that be? Would that be the Texans or Steelers after 15-0?
Oh shit! I don't even
it'd be the Steelers.
Yeah.
So maybe they just lose that game in Pittsburgh. It's a Christmas Day. Maybe funky shit happens when the Chiefs have a few turnovers.
Happened last year.
Things like that. Yeah, Christmas Day just seems to suck for the Chiefs. But I'm going to say if the Chiefs were 15-0 at that point, I'm shaking the Chiefs in that game. I think the Chiefs would probably be like 3.5-point road favorites too. I'd bear to say they'd probably be 3.5-point favorites in that game.
Yeah.
I would say at that point they probably would still win, but I don't think if they were to lose, I think it would be because of the fact that they just lost as opposed to Andy sitting starters. Because I think he's going to give his players the opportunity to go after it, and I think that's what's going to happen if they are undefeated by that point.
Yeah, agreed. Next one from our guy Dustin Orton. Speak it. What's the biggest threat to our 3025? I'm not sure what that means, my guy Dustin Orton.
3025?
See.
It's a code.
Yeah, and it's a date, I believe.
Is he on the 3-peat on the second?
I think there was maybe a typo. Yeah. So Dustin Orton's question is, what is the biggest threat to our 3-peat? Yeah.
I think this is simple, and I think, Trevor, you might agree with me on this. If you have something different, say it. Injuries. Yeah. Injuries are the only thing. Dude, look, I'm going to sound superly arrogant here, but I've been saying this consistently now for years, and it's been right almost every single time. There is not a team in this AFC that can hang with the Chiefs. There is no one.
But, bro, my rebuttal to your take is we've already dealt with all the injuries, and we're fucking 7-0 still.
Yeah.
So we can even use that point?
You know what?
We've already lost several stars on our team, and we're still.
I'm talking about I'm talking about the
I know, but
the injuries.
We've dealt with all these injuries already, and we still think we're going to go to the Super Bowl.
I'm talking about the injuries.
Oh, sure,
you know what I'm talking about. Sure. Like that would be the only thing.
But I mean, any other team loses their star receiver. I know now. Obviously, we went and got D-Hop, but you lose your star receiver, your starting running back. Yeah. Several other. We've lost pieces. So I mean. Yeah, I mean, outside of losing your star quarterback or Travis Kelce or something like that, yeah, I mean, those are the ones. But
those are the only things. If the Chiefs stay healthy going into the postseason, there's no one beating them.
Especially with other teams. Other teams are dealing with a lot of injuries too. Yeah. I mean, how healthy are the other teams in the AFC going to be? And does anybody in the AFC really, really scare you right now?
Not even remotely.
I think I'm more worried about certain NFC teams that are really. I mean, the Lions are scary.
I cannot stand Jason McIntyre on the Herd.
Yeah.
He always says, when the Chiefs lose in the postseason. I love when people say that, but they never say who's going to beat them.
That's wishful thinking is all that.
But they never say who.
Yeah.
I love when people say, the Chiefs won't win the Super Bowl. Remember Jason McCourty? He's like, they just won't do it. There's Rodney Harrison. There's no way it's going to happen. Okay, who's beating them?
Yeah.
Please name the team.
We know it's not the Bengals. We know Tom Brady don't play no more. Those are the only two teams that we really
teams.
So
please name the team. Name the team that's beating the Chiefs in the playoffs.
Right. You think this version of the Bills is going to go beat the Chiefs in the playoffs?
Give me a break, dude.
In fact, that's not happening. So yeah. I mean, injuries. I mean, I don't think there's a team though. Yeah, I don't think there's a team that is the biggest threat to us.
Yeah.
I mean, I think a lot of people want it to be the Ravens because I think a lot of people really want Lamar Jackson to be that guy and to dethrone Patrick Mahomes. But we have a very large sample size at this point of what happens when these two teams meet, especially in the postseason.
Yep.
It ain't pretty for the Ravens. It ain't pretty for the flock. Sorry, guys.
Yep.
So yeah, I don't think outside of a big a massive injury to one of the key contributors to what this team is, that would be probably it. Let's see. Next one, Billy Hodge. Well,
Hodge back, baby. Yeah.
This is Billy Hodge. Yes, I see your name on there. Do you think the Chiefs make another move before the trade deadline?
I was of the belief that they would, but at this time, I'm going to say no. Their current cap space, I think, they got like $200,000, so they have to make another restructure if they did, because the majority of what Jawan Taylor did with his restructure was pretty much absorbed by D-Hop's money. So I'm going to probably say no, but if they did, I would hope it would be another receiver, but again, they'd have to restructure another contract.
Yeah.
Whether it's Joe Tooties,
Justin Reed.
Yeah, maybe Justin Reed, but I don't think they're going to do that because I don't think they want to. I don't think Justin
next year.
I don't think Justin Reed's back next year.
Yeah.
I'm going to say probably not.
I'm going to say yes. I'm going to say yeah. We figure out another way to bring in another receiver because we have to. I think we have to. I think we get. I mean, I don't. Juju's already dealing, and it's got to be a serious hamstring issue for him to be deemed out 2 back-to-back weeks, and they deemed him out immediately before last week's game, the week before. So he was automatically out. That must be a serious. I mean, IR is still potentially in the books for Juju. Unfortunately, that could still happen if he doesn't progress and get better. They can just place him in the IR and try.
I think the Chiefs are thinking the Hollywood Browns going to be back though.
True, or they can bring somebody up from the practice squad, which I mean, it's not as exciting. It may be more exciting to us because there's some guys in there that we still believe in. But I'm just gonna say on the optimistic side. Not that it's pessimistic to say we don't make a move. It's just it's a yes or no question, but. I think we do. I think there's some really cheap receivers out there that are on last year's the rookie deals or guys that are maybe another aging guy that's out there. Who knows?
Names like I know like Darius Slayton's a real popular one.
I like it.
What would it take?
Or even Hyatt too.
But who would it take to get one of those guys?
Mechie, but they need him at this point.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like Darius, let's say it's Darius Slayton.
Yeah.
What do you think like trade value wise the Chiefs have to give up?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, but the thing, I mean, Feach is making some.
Yeah,
I mean, we just got.
If it happened, I'd be all for it.
Uche for a fucking $6.
I would love it. Trust me. If they went and got Darius Slayton, I'd be all for it. I just fitting his money is like I said, it's going to take a restructure.
Yeah,
and you're going to probably have to give up probably a 4th or a 5th round pick.
Yeah.
So these are things they'd have to consider.
Yeah. Do we give up another pick? That is a question.
Right.
I don't know if we do that at this point, but I mean, I'm just going to say yes, just for the hell of it. I think there's still a chance we go get another receiver. So I think we do need to make a move, whether it's internally or externally.
Yeah.
I think a move is going to be made at receiver for sure. Our guy Lonnie Pyramid with the question. My guys, will the Tasmanian Devil, Pop, and Hunt split down the middle, or someone gets the lion's share?
I think someone's getting the lion's share, and I think it's going to be Kareem Hunt.
I agree.
Because I also think the Chiefs want to keep Isaiah Pacheco as healthy as possible for the postseason, just like a little bit like Travis Kelce, especially when you're coming off a leg injury.
Yeah.
You know that even though he's going to be healthy enough to play again.
Broke his shit, dude.
Yeah, that's a serious
Not just physically, mentally, that's going to mess with you. Trust me.
Trevor and I have a younger brother that suffered that injury.
Yeah, me and Jared both. Well, Jared was obviously in the same area as Pops. His was lower.
And it took
Mine
Jared,
was higher,
and that's going to be something that Pop's probably going to be dealing with for the
It
rest of his
messes
life.
with you mentally, bro.
Yeah, like he's going to, that pain, like when it gets cold outside, he's probably going to feel that for the rest of his life. That's
just
a serious
getting strength back in that muscle because that muscle shrinks because it's going to be in a cast for so long. It's going to take you time, bro.
That's why, you know what?
Kareem has been so good.
Dude,
bro.
I should have posted this. I don't know why I didn't have this on the show because I'm so glad this question was brought up because I posted this poll, Trevor, a couple days ago, actually. I asked everybody, when Isaiah Pacheco returns to the field, who should get more touches down the stretch? We had almost 1,200 votes between Isaiah Pacheco and Kareem Hunt.
Yeah.
62% said Isaiah Pacheco.
That's just recency bias. Well, I guess recency bias would probably favor Kareem Hunt just because he's been out there. But I just think there's still that Cinderella story with Isaiah Pacheco, him being that guy. And obviously, we won a Super Bowl with this kid, bro. Obviously, that carries weight.
Yeah,
and
sure.
I think there's some disdain for Kareem Hunt personally. I think there's some of that out there as well. But anybody who's watching the games, it's kind of hard to act like Kareem Hunt isn't the better back.
Like obviously Pacheco's the faster player. He's got much more speed.
Sure.
But Kareem Hunt has more to his game. So if I'm trying to because the reps are going to be split up, but I would say it's going to be like 60, 40, 70, 30 Kareem Hunt.
Yeah.
I think because the rhythm he's in right now, because he offers them more. Isaiah Pacheco's not a 3-down back.
I think it'll be 60-40 Kareem Hunt.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, 60-40.
I don't think that Pacheco's a 3-down back. So just by that alone, Kareem Hunt is a 3-down. I'm sorry, Pacheco's not a 3-down back. Yeah, Kareem Hunt is.
No, I mean, maybe that's honestly, I feel like that's given a lot of credit to Pacheco to come back healthy. 60-40 actually seems like a lot for Pacheco, if I'm being honest, because there's still other guys in the mix. I still for pass pro reasons and things like that, I still think guys like P. Ryan is going to be out there in the mix too for, maybe 20, 15% of the snaps. So that takes snaps away from Pop too, I think, in my opinion. And I don't think Kareem's coming off the field, bro. Especially when it comes to postseason. And if Pacheco's not there and is fully recovered and healthy and doesn't have that burst, because he depends a lot on that burst.
Yeah.
If he doesn't have it and that leg isn't really fully up to par,
and if
Kareem is going to eat.
And if everything goes as expected, where Kareem Hunt stays healthy, he helps his team win a three-peat. And this is early, but you guys know I always do my off-season wish lists. Yeah. I'll give you a little early indicator. I'll give you two. If everything goes as planned right now and stays the same, and the Chiefs do what they do.
Super Bowl MVP.
No, I'm saying my off-season wish list. Two things that are going to be at the top of the list is re-signing Kareem Hunt and DeAndre Hopkins. I know, guys, they're not young.
They're old.
But the reason the Chiefs are going to three-peat, a large portion of it is because they have both those guys.
Yeah.
So I like to think with Pacheco's injury history and the fact that Rashi's going to be suspended for a quarter or at least a third of the season next year, coming off an injury, I would like to have some assurances. Yeah. And what better to have assurances than having Kareem Hunt and DeAndre Hopkins? So I would say re-sign those guys. I don't think Kareem Hunt's going to be expensive at all. And if DeAndre Hopkins wants to chase money so bad, he can go do that and go play for a team that's going to win 3 games again. Or you can just stay in Kansas City, collect a smaller paycheck, but have a Hall of Fame career. Choice is yours, brother. He's been down that path.
I want to give our guy Shaggy Shane a moment here because he put in a comment and I wanted to read it. Until the KC defense gives up more than 16 points a game on average, the Chiefs should be favored in every single game. That is fiery fact,
without
my
question.
Guy Shaggy Shane.
Well, and I do think. That's
why the game against the Niners was hilarious. Me and Lance were all over. Like, bro, we were home dogs.
Here's the thing.
We're not home dogs. We were dogs in general.
It's gonna be really interesting. It depends on how these next 2 weeks go for both teams. Yeah. But it's gonna be really interesting what the line looks like with that Chiefs-Bills game.
I think the Chiefs will be favored.
You think so?
I just think because of the history. Yeah, I think, and if we're still undefeated, I think they can't go against the undefeated team, man. I think the Chiefs will be favored, but I didn't think we'd be dogs against the Niners either.
Yeah,
and we were what almost 2.5 point.
They were what 4-0 at that point, right?
Yeah,
yeah.
So, yeah, but good point, Shaggy. I mean, our defense is, like I said, man. I always give our defense credit every time I watch them on TV with anybody. Yeah. It's the best unit in football. Period. So yeah, I agree with you there. Michael Maldonado, you think the Chiefs should bring back Donovan Smith or start rookie Big SUA?
You already know where I stand, Trev. Look, this is so. Look, Donovan Smith is not on a roster for a reason.
Yeah,
it's because Donovan Smith isn't good enough anymore. Guys, Donovan Smith barely lived through the 2023 season.
I mean, who is it that brought back Jason Peters?
I mean, yeah, Wanya Morris was beating out Donovan Smith for half the season, guys. And Wanya Morris, and I hate repeating myself so much, but I have to, Trevor, to get the emphasis clear. Wanya Morris is not a left tackle. Wanya Morris is playing over there as a filler, and he is failing. He is not good. I don't like PFF, but I looked at the score. You know what Wanya Morris's PFF grade is right now, Trevor? 50.
Is that bad?
It's horrible. Now, everybody's like, well, Kingsley's is lower. Kingsley played 2 games and was against 2 of the best pass rushes in the NFL, and the Chiefs put him on an island. He didn't get the same chip protection that Wanya gets every damn week against inferior pass rushes. And against Max Crosby, the one true challenge Wanya's had to this point this season, he got obliterated. So what are we doing? What was the point of drafting Kingsley, giving him the starting role, and then just taking it from him within 2 weeks? So we're like, well, Wanya is still growing too. He's only got like 10, 12 starts in his career. That is literally my entire point about Kingsley. Who's the more talented player? Kingsley.
Yeah.
Fucking play him.
There's more
Let
upside
him
with
grow
Kingsley, for sure.
into his role.
You know what's going to happen, though. Wanya is going to be great this week.
Shit. I don't think so.
Okay. I mean, Wanya is probably going to be great. We're not going to hear it.
Is Vito Vea playing?
I think so. But that's more of a guy that's like more
interior.
Of a, yeah. That's they can put him on the edge sometimes, but that's very unlikely. But I think Wanya's probably going to have a good, quiet game. Quiet meaning good, because if you're quiet on the left side and you're doing your job, you're not getting your name called, not getting penalized. So that's probably what's going to happen. I think our offensive line is going to be I think our offensive line is going to be great.
Because the middle of our offensive line is better than anybody's.
Yeah.
Trey Smith, Creed Humphrey, and Joe. That's the greatest trio in the NFL.
Yeah.
It is.
Well, and I mean, is we can talk about our O-line, but even the right side against the Niners, going against Bosa. I mean, Bosa got there a couple times, but
dude, Juwan Taylor was shutting him down.
I'm saying Juwan was great against him. That's one of the narratives that didn't get talked about enough that game, man. That's why I was like,
dude, Juwan Taylor's only problem
awesome this year, dude.
His only problem is
the
penalties.
Jumps. Yeah, the jumps.
That's it. When it comes to protection,
a couple of his holding calls were bullshit this year too.
Yes,
Absolute bullshit.
Jesus Christ, yes. Yeah. That's why the jumping is the only thing.
Yeah,
and we see that across the league. He's the only one that seems to get that call.
Yeah, but he's the only one that's getting penalized for it.
Right.
We've seen guys like Lane Johnson do that's Lane Johnson's whole career.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that's a Hall of Fame-esque player right there.
Dude, Juwan looked good against Max Crosby.
Guys,
remember the second half with Max went to the right side? Shut him down. Max didn't do shit.
Yeah, bro.
So Juwan's
a dog, bro.
I'm giving him credit, man. He's been playing his ass off.
Agreed. I like him a lot. It's my guy. I love Juwan Taylor. Do our tackles scare you? This is from Carlos Fierro. This is in the same vein as the last question. Do our tackles scare you?
Yes, no. A tackle scares me, and it's Wanya Morris.
Yeah.
I understand, guys, that Kingsley struggled in his first 2 games. You know who else usually struggles in their first 2 games? Just about everybody.
Yeah.
Especially when you're going against grown-ass men who've been playing this league for 8 to 10 years that know how to get you. Yeah, I understand that's gonna look bad
unless
sometimes.
You're Joe Alt and you're just.
You know what I'm saying, bro? And Joe Alt's not even playing left tackle. He's playing right tackle because Rashawn Slater's got left tackle.
He's been hurt too already.
Right,
so, yeah.
and Joe Alt struggled over there right tackle. And that's my whole point, dude, is that I get so triggered in this conversation because I know I'm going to be right one day. I know there's going to be a day when Kingsley gets the job back and we're going, oh, so we let him grow into his role and now he's really good. That's wild. It's just like Xavier Worthy. Guys, I know he had a really good introduction against the Ravens because of blown coverages, but there have been growing pains for Xavier Worthy. He's dropped a lot of passes. He's ran wrong routes. He's fallen on routes. He's had growing pains, but what did the Chiefs do? They keep throwing him out there. And what do you know? Xavier's starting to look pretty damn good. Look at Rashee Rice. First month of his career, dropping passes left and right. What ended up happening, Trevor? Oh, Rashee led the league in yak yards. That's because they let him grow into his fucking role. How about we let Kingsley do the same goddamn thing? That sounds great. Hey, Trevor, remember Chris Jones? Remember his first season? We had 2 sacks.
Yeah.
That was the best interior rusher in the entire NFL for 3 straight years. Wild.
Your point is my point to why I'm trusting Andy Reid that he's making the right decision right now. I do think Kingsley is better, but the fact that he did see it in Rashee and then Rashee put Rashee out there more and it was the right decision. And he has seen more in Xavier Worthy and he's putting Xavier Worthy and getting him more fed more as the weeks go on. He's obviously not seeing that with Kingsley. So he's making the choice to keep him out. So if we're going to if we're going to count the hits and not ignore them, we're going to count the hits and the misses together, we got to count, Andy Reid's been pretty accurate with what he's choosing to do with certain players and keeping them in or taking them out. And
there's no other coach I'd rather have running this team. You know that.
And who's an offensive line guy?
Sure.
Andy Reid at heart. So, I think
here's my other problem.
Trust that he's making the right decision at left tackle. Right?
But here's my other problem.
Even though I do think
up until about a week ago, they were still playing Sky Moore.
Oh, yeah. But, dude, me and you
know. He's useless.
Every time we watch games together, Sky Moore comes out there. What do we know he's going to do? He's going to block.
Okay, but he's still got a couple. He got targets.
Sky Moore's out there to block.
And he dropped every target he got.
Yeah.
Up to week 7.
Targets in this season, I think.
Up to week 7, he was still getting targets, is what I'm saying. Sky Moore was still playing in this, and all of a sudden he had this muscle injury. And they are playing that shit up.
It's a real injury, though. He was in the hospital getting surgery. So
I said on Arrowhead Allies, Martin Scorsese must be like directing this shit because the Chiefs and Sky Moore have this dedicated to a
he got
craft.
core muscle surgery, bro. So
Yeah,
it was real.
Trevor, you know who gets surgery every year? Every fucking player. You know what happens? Some are severe, some are very minor. Some guys get like a toe injury.
You know who catches balls every year? Not Sky Moore.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, Trevor, he was a full participant in every practice of the season, and then they go get D-Hop, and all of a sudden he's got a core muscle injury.
Howie. Yeah.
I'm just saying, bro. Like, come on. The Chiefs don't actually expect us to believe that shit. No one did. That's my point, dude, is that they keep playing guys that were high-valued players. Kingsley's a second-round pick, too. Let the man cook. Yeah. Let him learn. Like, the Falcons, what pissed me off the most, and I'm sorry I'm harping on this, guys, but I have to get this point across. The thing that pissed me off the most about benching Kingsley so quickly is the very next week when they benched him, guess who they played? The Falcons, who have one of the worst pass rushes in the league. If he sucked in that game, then you make a change, because then I can't say anything. Because if he struggled against that bad pass rush, then I can't say anything. But he played 2 awesome pass rushes, struggled on an island, and if he didn't get a third chance, and let's say he played really well against the Falcons, then my stance solidifies. Because then I say, look, guys, it's growth. He played against a little bit of less of a defense, and he played really well. Let him build on that. Because sure, we both know we played sports growing up. You play against the best of the best, you're going to struggle early on. But if you play some teams that are kind of at your level or at your pace, and you sink a couple three-pointers, you hit a home run, you get that confidence in you. That's why you go to AAA ball. That's why you do things like that. This is live rounds for Kingsley. Let him learn in live rounds. Because sitting on the bench right now is not helping him. He's not developing on the bench. He's an offensive lineman. Offensive linemen have to be in rhythm and cohesion that you don't learn on the bench. Remember Will Shields? Yeah. He initially started as a backup. Dude got hurt, came in, never lost his job.
Yeah, especially lineman position.
Lineman has to be in rhythm.
You got to be thrown to the wolves sometimes.
Let him go get in rhythm, man. I'm gonna die on this hill, dude. Yeah. I will not budge on this. Kingsley is the only true left tackle on this roster until proven otherwise. Let him play.
And die you will. All right, next question from our guy, Douglas Slyman. Welcome to I don't think I've seen Douglas on the show before.
Yeah, welcome in.
YouTube commenter. Appreciate you for being here, buddy. Champ, Tiger, I don't want to insult you. Can I any more insults I can give you? Kareem Hunt, re-sign next year?
Yes, 100%. Trevor, what do you feel?
I mean, the way the guy's playing right now, bro. I mean, there's a question whether this pace holds up because he's playing like one of the best running backs in football right now as far as his efficiency and his ability to score every week. He's a lock. He's like negative 200 almost every week now at this point. He's like right there with Derrick Henry to score every week because he's just scoring every week, and sometimes twice. So I mean, yeah, I think the story is awesome for him. I think he's playing very motivated football, and he's going to be 30 next year, right? So I mean, I think that's something to
like
think
Derrick
about.
Henry is right now.
Exactly, but he's not Derrick Henry. But the Kareem doesn't have as much tread on his tires as a lot of guys his age though, too, because he's been playing second fiddle to an all-time running back like Nick Chubb. And he barely played last year, and he got hurt last year with the
sports hernia.
The sports hernia. So that's not a football injury.
Exactly.
That's just a random freak thing that happens.
He played the whole season with that.
Yeah.
It still had 9 touchdowns.
So we know the dog that Kareem Hunt is. So 100%, does he want to be back? Absolutely. Did the Chiefs sign him? I hope so. I hope so. I hope they do, and I think it makes a lot of sense for the team. You can cut ties with Samaje Perine. That was fun, cool. Thank you for your services. We know what the running back we can do with the running back in this offense. What we can do. So you keep a guy like Kareem Hunt, a savvy veteran. There's a red zone threat to score every single time we're down there. You bring back Pacheco and keep him around too.
Well, Pacheco's still under contract.
Sure. But I mean, we could cut ties with him if who knows? But I think you bring those two guys back as your core running back group, and then build around those guys. Maybe bring back Carson Steele as a solid backup who's played well in spurts. Probably be a practice squad guy next year, most likely. But yeah, I think signing Kareem Hunt makes all the sense, honestly. And bringing back D-Hop and Kareem Hunt, like you've talked about already in the show, that bring those savvy veterans back, especially who win the Super Bowl this year.
Kareem Hunt's not going to cost any money.
Yeah.
You get him on a 1-year deal. I often refer it to as the same thing as like the McCole Hardman or Clyde Edwards-Helaire. These are guys that want to be here in Kansas City. That know that I'm just saying though, they know they belong here in Kansas City. That's their best chance. I look at it as like Adam Sandler's buddies in all of his movies. Like they're tag-alongs, right?
Sure.
Kareem Hunt, right at this point of his career, is a tag-along.
They're like ad-libs.
Yes.
They're just like ad-libs.
They're guys that play their role. And he plays a higher role than McCole, obviously. He plays a higher role than Clyde, obviously. But I'm saying he's a guy that knows he wants to be here in Kansas City. So if he gets a 1-year deal worth $3 million, he's going to take it. Yeah. He's going to take that, dude, every day, all day long. He wants to stay here in Kansas City.
Well, like he said, when he first got his first book, I'm just happy to be here.
Yeah. And
it smells the same, all those things. This is very nostalgic for him. This is a second chance for him.
And with Isaiah Pacheco's consistent injury history, you almost have to have Kareem Hunt. Because Kareem's the opposite. He never gets hurt.
Right. Other than a freak injury.
Yeah, he never
He's
gets
had little
hurt.
nagging things here and there, but I mean, what
He
running
plays
back
for
doesn't?
everything, man. This guy's led the league in rushing. He was going to set records in 2018. Dude, he had 14 touchdowns in 10 games.
Yeah, and we haven't even really been throwing him the ball much either. We all know what that dude can do in the maybe
Right.
not maybe that time has passed him a little bit. He's not as spry in the passing game as he used to be. We know that dude can do that.
It could change. It could change. Yeah,
nice little bubble screen to Kareem.
Right.
You know what he can do, bro.
Little slip screens. I love those little slip screens. You know
He's
where
not
you get
running
the
22 miles an hour anymore,
Yeah.
but yeah, resign the man. I wouldn't mind giving him a 2-year deal.
And here's the other thing: Kareem Hunt's not even in his best shape yet because of the fact that he didn't have training camp.
Yeah, remember how sore he was after the first
Yeah,
week?
he didn't have training camp.
Yeah.
Like he wasn't out there sweating all that fat off, dude. Like he's still getting in
It's
shape.
just the muscle soreness too. Just get the muscle aches and pains
Yeah.
and the joints and all that shit. Once you find that groove, you'll be all right.
Yeah.
But yeah, bring him back, man. I love it. James T. Kirk. The Chiefs got D-Hop, the Bills got Cooper, the Jets got Adams, and the Ravens got Johnson. Whose pickup was the best? According to clown Rob Parker, the Chiefs stopped at Goodwill.
Yeah, I'm not going to address Rob Parker because he is an absolute clown.
Yeah, pay that guy no mind. Him, McIntyre, all those clowns.
I'll rank them real quick. To me, it's very simple. The Chiefs got the best version or the best of them because of the fact of how he's going to be used. I like Amari Cooper a lot in Buffalo. But we know that Buffalo is a team that's now become more of a run-heavy offense that also throws the tight ends a lot. We're seeing Dalton Kincaid really come of age. I think Amari Cooper is a really good pickup. I'm not trying to downplay it.
Yeah.
I like Amari Cooper in Buffalo.
Amari's a third for me. That's the third one.
I'm going to say D-Hop 1, Davante Adams without question number 2, because the Jets and him and Aaron Rodgers, that connection, even though disregard their record, that is a connection that you have to respect.
The question isn't who's the better receiver.
No,
Davante Adams is the best of the three.
The fit and you know what it does. Davante Adams just won them a game against the Houston Texans.
Yes.
So
and his connection with Rodgers is a massive upgrade.
And Cooper's number 3. I'm gonna look. This might sound like I'm a hater here, but I feel like Deontay Johnson got signed by the Ravens to run block. I don't like the fit.
I don't like it either.
I don't like the fit at all. Like guys like Zay Flowers.
Remember OBJ went there?
Yes.
How great was his career?
Thank you. Yeah. Guys like Zay Flowers fit that offense perfectly because he's a freelancer. He's a freestyle player.
Yeah, and he plays a lot like Tyreek. He's so good at just get the ball in his hands. Yeah.
Deontay's a timing route runner. He's a timing guy.
Who does that sound like? He's very much like OBJ.
Yes.
Not as dynamic as OBJ, but
three-step
OBJ was balling at that time.
Three, 4-step dig routes. Like it's all about timing. He doesn't fit Lamar's offense. Lamar is a freestyler. Yeah. He's a guy that kind of rolls around and
through his progressions and chuck it. Yeah.
And he's not really a culture guy either. Let's be real. Deontay Johnson's had problems with locker rooms. So we've heard the reports from Mike Tomlin. We heard the reports in Carolina. He had problems in the locker room.
Sure.
So if he's not getting targets,
I think in Pittsburgh he had good reasons to be, but yeah.
Well, I'm just saying though, like
his quarterback sucks.
Yes, that's true. But DeAndre Hopkins went through a lot of shit. We never heard one negative word about that man because he's a man of integrity.
Sure.
That is class personified right there. Yeah. That's why I love D-Hop in Kansas City. He fits the mold. He's motivated. He's a culture guy. He checks every box. So that it might sound biased, but guys, prove me wrong. D-Hop might not be the best of all these guys, but Amari Cooper's probably the better of all of them. Or Davante Adams. Davante's the best of them. Yeah. And DeAndre might be 3. Honestly, he might be 3. I'd take him over Deontay Johnson.
He's better than Cooper in my opinion.
You think so? Well, it's debatable. So like 2A, 2B.
He's always been better than him.
2A, 2B. We know Davante's the best, but I think for fit and for what he's going to bring impact-wise, I think D-Hop's number 1.
Amari Cooper's still out there dropping balls. So
yeah, that's true.
He's been stone hands a lot. I mean, he's had a lot of big catches in his career, but he's also had a lot of drops. He's dealt with that a lot in his career. But I think for me it is. I think D-Hop is the best signing because it was a massive need not only for the Chiefs just losing what we've lost already this year. It was just a luxury signing for the Jets to go get Davante Adams. That was just a luxury signing because they already had a guy who just scored 2 touchdowns in this game against the Texans, who's a stud receiver in his own right. So I mean, they have weapons already over there. They got Breece Hall running the rock and Braylon Allen behind him as well. So they got weapons over there. So that was just a luxury move for them to go get him in that connection with Aaron Rodgers. So that was good to see. Great signing nonetheless. But Amari Cooper would be 3rd for me, but he hasn't looked too great with the Bills yet, if I'm being honest. I know he scored a couple weeks back, but he hasn't looked too great. And then Deontay Johnson to the Ravens, just a wash for me. I think he's going to go there and disappear. I hope I'm wrong because I have him a lot of my fantasy leagues, but at the same time, I love Deontay Johnson, the talent, and what they got for me. I was hoping the Chiefs would make a move too because they got him for a 5th, so that's crazy. I'm a big Deontay Johnson fan. I think he's a really good player. Still one of the best separators in football, but he is as far as this rankings goes, going to be last. I hate the fit over there, and there's no like alpha receivers that emerge over there, and the way that offense is. I mean, like I said, I think the best comparison is OBJ. OBJ just come off of winning a Super Bowl, was playing really good football. I know he's come off an injury, but he's still playing very good football. And just there's no connection between him and Lamar, and he was getting open. Lamar just was not finding them, had no rhythm with them. And that's a very similar player to Deontay Johnson as the bad fit. And I'm here for a bad fit in Baltimore. I'm all for it. So, yeah, that's it for me on that one. Next question, Julia Gulia. Who will the O-line give? Will the O-line give Patrick Mahomes time in this game against the BUCS?
Oh, yes. I'm going to give a lot of
defensive
credit.
line.
Overall, the offensive line's been fine this season. This offensive line's been more than fine this season. I don't agree with how they're handling left tackle, but 4 of the other 5 positions have been just fine this season for protection on Pat. In fact, I think he has, if I'm not mistaken, Trevor, I think outside of Jared Goff, he has the lowest sack rate in the NFL. So, yeah, I'm going to say that he's going to have plenty of time. I know Vita Vea is a man, but he's going up against Creed Humphrey. Like, those are 2 gorillas just going to be fighting it out, dude. So, I like Creed Humphrey. I like him and the guards to fight Vita Vea really well. And I think that even with the protection, I'm confident. And I think they're going to be the style of offense the Chiefs are going to try to play is getting the ball out quick and letting guys create with their feet. Like Trevor said about Xavier Worthy, like some jet sweeps. Maybe even get McCole Hardman involved a little bit with his speed.
Yeah, they would.
And then set up shot plays. Set up some deep shots. Set up, DeAndre Hopkins down the middle for 25, 30 yards. Set up Xavier Worthy for a deep shot.
You already know
60-yard
break
play
open on a third down.
Yeah, man.
Kelsey's gonna break
set
up
some stuff.
15.
Make sure the box isn't heavy, because if the box is light, then they can start running the ball. And that's when they start getting the 10, 15-yard rushes from Kareem Hunt and whoever else is running the ball. So Patrick creates with his feet. Yes, I'm very confident the offensive line is going to do their job at a very high level this week.
Yeah, I don't ever really question. I mean, outside of the left tackle situation we've already talked about, our offensive line has been nails this year, so I have no worries with them. I do want to say, too, Jalen McMillan, the other receiver I was talking about that I liked in the BUCS, is now questionable with the hamstring as well.
Oh, man, a rookie.
So, I mean, yeah, that kid's nice. I like that kid a lot.
He played at Washington?
A lot of upside with that kid.
Was it Washington?
Yes, Washington.
Yeah.
Yep.
He was really good
He's
college.
a stud, man. I
really
like that
good.
kid. Yeah. And he outright won the job, that third receiver job in camp. So coming in as a rookie and winning that job.
Bucks are fucked up.
Yeah, he's probably going to play, but him and Sterling Shepard are both banged up. I mean, they're just so.
Damn.
This is a terrible spot for the BUCS. I just want to.
It would have been really exciting to see this Bucks healthy, coming to Kansas City. It would have been fun. That'd been fun.
We would be a lock for 30+ points at that point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we're for sure going to have to put up points.
Ironically, the Bucks are the last team in the regular season to put up over 30 on the Chiefs.
Yeah.
2 years ago.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
It'd be cool to see if they could do it again. Like the Chiefs have to withstand that.
It'd be cool if we just did it anyways. We just wouldn't put up 30, and then I don't care if they scored 3. Just 30-3 would be awesome. It'd be awesome. It'd be cool to see. Starcade Media. I'm guessing this is probably our guy Noah. Does Deontay Johnson? We touched on this a second ago, but let's touch on it again. We'll touch it. Does Deontay Johnson move the needle for the Ravens enough to make you slightly more worried about them?
Look, the way I'll say it is I respect Deontay Johnson's talent, his ability, but I think this is the worst place for him to go outside of Carolina where he left.
Yeah.
Because it's not because the Ravens suck or anything. It's just the style of offense they operate in is not the style of offense. Because we remember coming into the season, people were saying, "Oh, that's gonna be a different offense." Guys, when you sign Derrick Henry, we know what you are. You're a run-first offense, and that's what Lamar is. He's a run-first quarterback.
Been insane this
year.
And
I understand that Zay Flowers works, so everybody thinks, "Oh, well, Zay Flowers works. That means that anybody should work." No, because like Trevor just said, OBJ. A very good talent still at that time of his career, could not do anything in Baltimore because of the fact that stylistically it didn't make sense. Deontay Johnson is a route running time type of receiver, a guy that needs to be in an offense. Like the perfect quarterback for Deontay Johnson would have been like Drew Brees, a guy that 4-5 step drop, out balls out, 7-step drop, balls out. That's the kind of offense he needs to be in. And that is not what the Ravens are. They're a very, like I said, loose, freestyle type of offense that improvises a lot.
Yeah.
That is not Deontay Johnson's skill set. That is why I do not believe this move. On paper, it makes them look better.
I do think they're going to try to use him because he can play on the outside as well. He runs the whole tree. Don't get it twisted. Deontay is a very skilled receiver. He can run the outside too, and he's got pretty good speed on him as well. So I think with Rashad Bateman, who's been struggling the last couple weeks with some drops, I think they're going to try to replace Rashad Bateman with Deontay Johnson on the outside. So they're going to try to do that. Obviously, let Zay do his thing on the underneath, which he's great at. The only thing that moves the needle for me is if we face the Ravens again is if their defense gets healthy. Because if the way their defense has been playing, they've just been giving it up left and right. I'm not worried about it. Pat's going to go do his thing against them. And you force Lamar to press against our defense, they're not beating us.
Right.
If Lamar's pressing and becomes more mistake prone when pressed, the only reason that game was close against them last time was because Lamar was just running all over us. Other than that, Lamar was not doing anything with his arm. I mean, Deontay Johnson, as much as I like him, this is a bad fit. If he went to like Cincinnati and Cincinnati had the same record as the Ravens or something, and now we're talking. That's another weapon when there with T. Higgins and Jamar Chase. That'd be scary.
Right.
But no, it doesn't. The way that offense moves, it doesn't move the needle for me. Just like it didn't move the needle for me when OBJ. I'll say it again. When he went over there, I was like, dude, he's gonna go die over there. It's not gonna work. It's just not that system. It's a run first offense, like you said, and the way that defense is playing. I mean, I'm not worried about the Ravens at all right now until that defense gets healthy and they actually reestablish some kind of dominance on the defensive side, because that secondary is absolute ass. So, yeah, nope. Mac 10 on YouTube. Speak it. Rank these NFC teams from Super Bowl contenders to not. Lions, Eagles, 49ers, Packers, and Rams.
As it currently stands, I'm going to say Lions first, and then I'm going to go Rams over Packers. And the biggest reason why is because I am a little worried about Jordan Love's injury. He has a groin injury right now, and those can linger.
He's playing this week.
He is playing, but I am worried about that getting
hasn't been confirmed yet. But
he's more likely he's going to play.
Yeah.
And I respect the shit out of the Packers, but here's my thing, Trevor.
They're going to win this week.
We finally saw the Rams with a healthy Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp, and what happened?
Did you see that Puka's banged up again?
Of course he's banged up.
Hurt his knee in practice.
He's supposed to play this week.
Same knee.
I'm gonna say Lions right now just because I respect the shit out of how they're playing right now.
Dude, they're so good.
I mean, the last 5 games, Jared Goff's completed 83% of his passes.
They're so good. Even though they're going to play, funny enough, they're going to play their first outside game this week.
Not weird,
of the season so far, yeah.
Yeah, so you might be right, though. The Packers might win that game.
I think they do.
But, yeah, so I'll say Lions, Rams, Packers, Eagles, then 49ers. The reason why I say 49ers is because here's my thing. This is the first time we've seen the Packers actually ask Brock Purdy to carry the load, and what are they doing? They're losing because he had been banged up on both sides of the ball.
Eagles defense has been playing better too.
Their offense has been playing really good. They just went into Bengals land and scored 40?
Yeah, Jalen Hurts had
37
touchdowns, 3 rushing touchdowns. If he's going to do that, but granted, you don't want him doing that every week. You're risking him getting hurt.
I was bigger on the Eagles than you were. I'm not big on them.
Yeah.
I had them at 10-7 winning the division. They're not going to win the division. I think the Commanders are going to win that division. But I think the Eagles are a playoff team. I think they're very much a playoff team.
Yeah, they should be. Yeah.
They should be. They're getting healthier. They got Devontae Smith
They've
back.
had some inexcusable losses, but
yes,
yeah,
Saquon Barkley is like offensive player of the year right now.
Bro.
He's been on. I told you he was going to go off this year.
Derrick Henry's up there, too,
but I told you Saquon was going to be insane in that offense.
Yeah. And
that's what's happened. So, yeah, I'm going to, like I said, officially, Trevor, Lions, Rams, Packers, Eagles, 49ers.
So, as far as Super Bowl contenders ranking these guys, the Rams are last for me, in my opinion.
Wow, okay.
They have to be right now because they have a lot to prove. They still have a lot of making up to do. So, I cannot say, and then we don't know if at any moment, Cooper Kupp could get hurt again. Puka's already banged up going into this week. He might not even play this week. Kyron Williams is known to get hurt a lot, too. He can definitely get hurt. If any of those guys go down, they're trying to squeak in a playoff spot right now. So I cannot call them contender, even though I had them in the Super Bowl in my predictions, but I got to do it on a weekly basis here. So they're going to last for me. I am going to go Eagles next. And
over
then
Packers.
No, Eagles as far as like the last spot.
Oh, you're going from bottom to top. Okay,
yeah.
My bad.
So I'll go from the top and make it a little easier, more comprehensible. Lions are first for me. I think they're a true contender. They're so good, well coached, and they're good in every facet of the game. Even with losing Hutchinson, they haven't missed a beat. Their pressures have been great still. Lions, 49ers, because I still believe in them. Just the coaching's still great. Shanahan, when it comes the time to play postseason football, they just beat a great Lions team last year. Granted, they were healthier at the time, but if they get McCaffrey back and they start rolling, I still believe that they just have that championship caliber-esque that they do towards the end of every season, bro.
Well,
last few years.
I'll just ask this though, not to like call you out on it, but like the Rams and Niners have the same record.
I get that,
and they're dealing with the same problems. And McVay has actually won a Super Bowl.
Sure. Yeah, but I mean, as far as, and I know they beat the Niners already too. I'm just saying
in San Fran.
This is probably more recency bias just from over the past few years that I've seen. They just figure out a way to get there and win games in the postseason. So contender-wise, I'm just going to stick with the Niners there. Rams, I know the Rams I'm nervous, but that defense is not nearly as good as the Niners in my opinion. So Lions, Niners, Packers, Eagles, Rams in my opinion right now. Okay. So, and that's obviously subject to change this week. That could definitely change. But Puka's injury is still making me nervous.
Yeah,
he hurt the same knee at practice.
They need Puka. There's no question.
Oh, and how great was he in his first week back?
Jesus, dude, that
dude is an elite.
Like we're gonna look back one day and go, how did this dude fall to the fifth round?
A perfect marriage with McVay, dude.
He's so good.
McVay just uses that guy perfectly.
Like, why can't the Chiefs find a guy like that in the fifth round? Are you kidding me?
He's so good.
Man.
Mac 10 with the next question. Speak it. The Ravens will be the Bills in a couple years, where they are the team, quote unquote, to beat KC, but will fall short and lose guys left and right center.
I agree. I think they're already there.
I mean, yeah, the Ravens have been the Ravens and the Bills have been the Bills. This is what they do. They lose to the Chiefs when it comes to it. When they need to beat us the most.
There's still no guarantee the Ravens make the playoffs. Like, they're 5-3 right now, so everyone's like, oh, they're gonna be fine. Guys, they've lost to bad teams.
And honestly, they're worse than the Bills because they can't even beat us in the regular season. At least the Bills beat us in the regular season.
That's actually fair.
You know what I mean? Like the Ravens, Patrick Mahomes killed the Ravens, bro.
I mean, the reason I say like we still can't like count the Ravens, just assume they're gonna make the playoffs, which they might.
They'll make the playoffs.
But the thing about this, I mean, they still have to play the Denver Broncos, which are a decent team.
I think it's gonna be a tough matchup.
They have
for them.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more divisional games.
Yeah, man.
And that's a tough-ass division.
Yeah.
And they still have the Eagles on their schedule.
Just lost a division
and they have to go to the Texans.
Yeah.
So they could lose 4 or 5 more games.
Yeah,
because their defense is ass
Nico
cheeks.
Collins back this week.
Right. Well, and by the time they're playing on Christmas against the Texans, who will have Nico Collins back by then.
Yeah,
and Joe Mixon, Joe Mixon I picked the Texans.
Talking about Saquon.
I would pick the Texans.
Joe
in that
Mixon,
game.
Saquon, and Derrick Henry are the top 3 running backs in football right
Real quick, Trevor, 5-3. Okay, let's just do this real quick. So I'm going to name off these matchups. You tell me if you pick the Ravens to win or not. Okay. At home against the Broncos.
They should win, but
Okay.
I do think the Broncos will give them fits.
Okay, so you got the Ravens winning.
That defense is really good.
So 1-0. Okay. At home against the Bengals.
They beat the Bengals.
Okay,
man.
2-0.
Yeah.
At Pittsburgh.
I think Pittsburgh gets them.
Okay, so 2-1.
Yeah.
At Chargers.
They beat the Chargers.
So 3-1. Philadelphia Eagles at Baltimore.
That's a game. Give me Philly.
Okay, 3-2.
I'm betting I'm putting money on Philly in that one.
They have a bye week at week 14. Then they go on the road to Giants.
They beat the Giants.
4-2.
The Giants might be packing it into at that point.
At Baltimore, Pittsburgh Steelers.
It's in Baltimore. I'll give Baltimore the edge.
5-2.
I give both those teams the home edge.
So they're 5-2.
Those matchups, yeah.
Then they go at Houston.
If Tank Dell's really coming alive at that point, which he's gotten progressively better since his injury up in the offseason, and Nico Collins is back doing his shit, I'm going to go with the Texans.
5-3.
Yeah.
And then they finish the season off at home against the Browns.
We already know what the Browns can do, bro. If yeah, man. Oh, man. I'm going to say they get the Browns this time. I say they split because that division, those games are always like so close.
So that's 3. You just said on a conservative side, 3 more losses.
Yeah. 2 more divisional games.
3 more losses you just gave them. That's 6 losses.
3 divisional games total.
Yeah, so they could be 11-6 on a conservative side. That's if they play well in some of these games. Because sure, you would have never picked them to lose the Raiders at home. You'd have never picked them to lose the Raiders. They lost the Raiders.
Yeah.
They were 7.5-point favorites on the road against Cleveland and lost.
Yeah.
So more than likely, dude, you give them 3 losses, they're probably gonna have 4 or 5.
Although I do think that their defense gets better as the year goes on because they're down so many bodies right now, like key players.
Yeah.
So that's massive for them. So I think once they get those guys back, that defense gets a little more confident. That's a nasty bunch.
I'm gonna tell you right now, I think the Bengals beat them.
No. Yeah, dude, any of those divisional games, I would not be surprised who wins. The Bengals could be 0 for right now.
The Steelers could sweep them.
Yeah, dude.
Like
I almost picked them in in the game in Baltimore. But I was like,
I like the Eagles. I like the Eagles in that matchup because again, that defense is ass cheeks. I like the Texans.
I like the Eagles in that matchup too. Yeah.
I would probably agree with you. I think they would probably beat the Browns in the last game because they need it.
Yeah.
But dude, don't be shocked.
I think they do lose the Eagles. So
don't be shocked if the Ravens are 10-7 or 9-8. Because that defense is bad, dude.
I picked them to win 13 games this year. I picked them to win 13 games this year.
I don't think they're getting there.
Probably not.
At best, I think they're 11-6. At best.
I mean, yeah, that loss to the Raiders was outrageous.
That's why I'm saying. The loss to the Browns
that's
outrageous.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Don't overlook those Broncos matchup this week.
Yeah,
the Broncos have been a top 3 defense this year.
Dude, yes.
Dude. Well, what's his name? Their defensive coordinator. Oh, God damn it. I always forget his name. Damn.
Broncos defensive
Yeah. Black dude. Oh, my God.
Vance Joseph.
Vance Joseph is coaching his ass off this year, bro. A lot of guys we don't even know.
He wants to be a head coach again.
A lot of guys we don't even know on that defense, bro. But his scheme has been great.
Yep.
So good. And Bo Nix has been gradually getting better, and Bo Nix has been running his ass off, too. So I've been pretty impressed with the way the Broncos, I think they're going to bring it to the Ravens, bro. I think that's going to be a tough, gritty game.
There are no gimmies. Even at Giants, that's not a gimme. That's not a gimme.
It's really if the Giants are packing it up, though. Because they might be done, bro. By that time,
you might be right.
They lose every game heading into that week. They're gonna be like, fuck this. We're not gonna try to go beat the Ravens.
But I think that
those upsets always happen every year.
I do think though that Brian Daboll's still coaching for his job.
Yeah, that's true.
So,
he might get fired, man.
Yeah. They can play spoiler at this point. You know what I mean? And if he finishes off with 5-6 wins with Daniel Jones, a quarterback,
I hope Daboll. It's not fair to him if he loses his job.
I don't think he's going to, but I'm saying he can still be fighting for it.
He didn't pay Daniel Jones.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? That sucks.
I think he keeps his job.
I do too. And Ryan Tracy or what's his name? The Tyrone Tracy, that running back.
Oh, that's the guy.
That kid is so good, bro. That kid is
good.
a fucking lightning in the bottle, dude.
Yes.
But yeah, that is all the questions, bro, so far. So that's all we got, I think, for this whole entire segment.
Man, that was great.
Thank you guys for everybody chiming in. It's been a good time, a lot of good topics, talking points. So
we get to do a whole show of that, honestly.
Definitely could, man.
You guys are awesome, man. We really
Endless
appreciate you guys
content.
every single week, man, for chiming in on the. We tell you guys in Speak It, that is our favorite time because you guys are giving us content to chew on and fire back with you guys. It's a community-driven segment, it's a community-driven show, quite frankly. So we can't thank you guys enough for that, man. We tell you at the top of every single show, we tell you at the bottom of every single show, just go to YouTube, go to the Spoken Podcast where we're live streaming and get in that live chat, man, and we'll talk with you guys as much as we possibly can. Even after the show, if you guys want to put up some comments in there, we'll try to interact with you as much as we can as well. But definitely just latch on to what we're doing here every single week, guys, because we appreciate it very much when you do so. Trevor, we have one more order of business to get to. What is it called? Hold this L. Each every episode, we finish off every single episode with a series of L's in the world of sports. Whether those L's are friendly or not so friendly L's in the world of sports, we promise you, who's ever holding those L's in the world of sports deserve those L's in the world of sports. Trevor Twidwell, who's holding the L for you this week?
All right, man. So this one pains me, and I know it's going to pain you a lot. Because it's a quarterback you believed in and a guy you've been rooting for and hoping he can become something, which he still can. I'm not giving up on the kid entirely yet. I think the talent is there, but I own him in a lot of my fantasy leagues. He's in a lot of my 2 QB leagues and a lot of my fantasy leagues in general. He goes by the name of Anthony Richardson, and he did the whole the whole wrestling move where he tapped out of a football game, like he was getting the people's. Where he was getting the ankle lock or the angle lock on his ankle or something. He was ready to tap out and call it a game, and he eventually did. He got permanently benched at this point. And I think that the Shane Steichen has come out and said that they are committed to Joe Flacco at this point. You're listen, man. The first round pick on this kid, bro, and he was the darling at the camps, and he was a darling in all the the analytics and all the shit that was behind this kid, and it's still fair. It's still a valid point because this kid still has all the intangibles and all the things you need as far as a gifted athlete. I mean, the guy is gifted as maybe ever seen. This is like some Bo Jackson shit what this guy is built with, and it's just unfortunate that the kid he hasn't put it together as a pro yet. He got hurt last year. Started out pretty hot. He's an incredible runner with the ball, obviously. Very Cam Newton-esque with a bigger arm than Cam. Not as accurate, unfortunately. Yeah, I don't know if you guys saw the play where he had, like, I think a 15, 20-yard run, nice scamper. And this basically just said, I got tired. And he tapped his helmet, and Joe Flacco wasn't even warmed up. It was absolutely unfair to put Joe Flacco out there, too, because no one had any, idea that he was just going to come out of the game. He just took himself out of the game in a professional football game as your coach and everybody's been talking you up, and this is your game to kind of finally come back after a couple weeks off from being hurt, and you tap out. Oh my! It's just that was rough to watch, man. Especially like I said, this is minuscule in the reality of things. Me as an owner of him in fantasy, and it's like, bro, what? He fucked so many people, not only just the fantasy side of things, but like his teammates. He basically just quit in the game, and he came back in the game, but he didn't do anything with it. And Shane Steichen, who's a guy I highly respect as a head coach and just as a man, I think he stands on 10 toes every time he says something. I love that guy. And he came out and said, he basically said, with lack of better words, I'm benching Anthony Richardson, and we are committed to Joe Flacco. And that's a rough look, man, for a kid that's, supposed to be their guy. They drafted him in the first round with that much, draft capital going in on you, and you being the darling of all the preseason hype coming into your first year and all this with your intangibles, and you're tapping out of games, man. I haven't seen anything like that before, honestly. That was wild, especially as bad as Bryce Young has been. Never seen Bryce Young just after his 4th interception like, fuck it, I'm out. Right. No. So this is crazy, man. This is something that's just kind of not heard of or seen much in professional sports in general. Usually you want to go out there and prove it. I don't care if you're winded or not, bro. You're the quarterback of this team. You're a first-round pick. So this is a really bad look. Honestly, for the organization, it's a bad look for the organization to this is a guy they handpicked. It seems they haven't done their due diligence. Not knocking the kid, but that is a massive personality flaw, and the whole world saw it. You know what I mean? So that's a bad look for him especially. But kudos to Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco's they want to win games. I think at this point, Joe Flacco gives them the best odds to do so. They got talent. They got Josh Downs. They got Michael Pittman. They got studs. They got Jonathan fucking Taylor, who out there running the rock. I mean, this is a very talented team. They should not be losing games. This is a good team. So Joe Flacco gives them the best odds to do so. I think that's what they're going to do, and Shane Steichen said as much. So for you basically quitting on your team and quitting on yourself at this point, it seems like, man, Anthony Richardson's going to have to do me a solid favor here and hold this L.
I think it's I think his time in Indianapolis is done.
It's rough, man.
I do think they're going to trade him, and I hope that he can elevate his game. I mean, he's still.
You think they trade him?
Yeah,
man.
I think he lost the respect of his coaches and teammates.
That's so rough.
And I think that they're gonna part ways. That's just my feeling right now.
I had never seen anything like that, bro. I've seen a lot of bad quarterback play, and guys just basically just tapping out as well.
There's other places that I could see him landing that might do him well.
Sure.
We could talk about that another time. But if I was betting right now, I bet they trade him for whatever picks they can get.
Yeah.
Because again, he's extremely talented. He's extremely young. He just turned 22 years old.
Right.
Like he's younger than a lot of college quarterbacks.
That's what kind of gives me pause on the trading thing, but.
Yeah, I think
he might have burnt some bridges, man.
I think Shane Steichen's like, listen, we're gonna have to rethink this.
And Shane Steichen wants to keep his job.
Yeah.
If he knows his guy tapped out and went out and took himself out of the game, and he goes back to him, you can't do that.
Nope.
They're gonna be calling for your head, bro. Those fans are gonna be calling for your head if you do that.
It sucks, man, because I believe in the kid.
Especially when Joe Flacco's looked really good every time he played.
Yeah, undefeated with him.
This is what Joe Flacco does. He's out here stealing young men's jobs.
For the record, I had the Colts making the playoffs. I still very much believe that. I think they're gonna make the playoffs.
They could go on a nice run here, bro. They got a nice stretch of games.
Their
schedule's
soft. Very soft.
Yeah.
And Joe Flacco can hit Pittman and Downs, those guys.
I love Josh Downs, bro. That kid's a stud.
I'm going to give a W out real quick because you guys know I'm a big baseball guy. Mm-hmm. The World Series was an absolute hit. This is one of the best World Series, even though it was over in 5 games. From a rating standpoint, which we know is what matters to these markets and to these networks, is what matters the most. And quite frankly, there was a lot of intrigue, a lot of star players. We know the stars are what drive these sports and drive people to go watch them. The casual fans is what you want to find. It finally happened for baseball. We talk about all the time how they have no stars. They don't market their stars. Well, that's changed. The biggest reason why is because of Shohei Ohtani. Him finally in the World Series, and now he's a World Series champion. That is humongous for baseball because now they have a star who's winning. And when you have the Japanese market that is so huge for baseball, that is a massive get for them. So I don't know if you guys saw this. This is huge. There are more than 30 million combined average viewers across North America and Asia for this World Series.
Wow.
As reported by Fox, World Series viewership in the U.S. averaged 15.8 million across its platforms. It's a 67% increase versus last year, and the most watched World Series since the 7-game World Series in 2017. So it's been 7 years since it's been this highly rated. Because we saw, Trevor, over the last 6-7 years, how bad the ratings were for the World Series. Nobody gave a shit.
Yeah.
And they gave a shit for this one. You have the Yankees and the Dodgers with Shohei Ohtani, Freddie Freeman, Aaron Judge, Giancarlo Stanton, Garrett Cole, Juan Soto. You have all these superstars in this. It was awesome. It was Lakers Celtics again. You know what I mean? To get this is the first time. This is the first time that these two franchises faced in the World Series in what was it, 60 years?
I'm happy the Dodgers won.
It was awesome. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah, it was just great to see two prolific franchises back at it. Duke and North Carolina. You know, like I said, Lakers, Celtics. You have, the freaking Cowboys and Niners. Like these, the classics.
Yep.
You had the classics in this one. That people still care about that. They care about the classics, man. So, major shout out to the MLB and to the World Series. And it's great to see, because I'm a big baseball guy. It's great to see baseball doing good again. I hope this lasts, man. I really, really do, because the America loves baseball. It's America's pastime. I know that football's taken over as king, but I want baseball to still be relevant in this country, dude, because it's such a great sport. It is such a great sport.
Of course.
I always say if you can teach your kid any sport, it's got to be baseball.
Yeah.
It is such a great sport on hand-eye coordination, but also life.
When it's safe.
Not to get but not to get too philosophical, but it also teaches you so much about life. that you're going to fail so many times. But if you can just get a couple hits here and there,
You just
are
keep your eye on the
success.
ball.
I'm just saying, dude, you know as well as I do,
Swing away.
the best sports movies are baseball movies,
For sure.
without question.
For sure.
So come
I mean,
on, man, yeah.
Some great football ones out there.
Sure,
too.
but come on, let's
Friday
be
Night Lights,
real.
fucking, remember
Like,
the Titans? Yeah.
We could name off some great baseball movies,
Sure,
man,
sure.
'cause
Yeah,
they teach you
they are
about
the
life.
best. They are the best.
Yes, so that I just wanted to throw that dub out there to baseball, man, because you guys, and shout out to the Dodgers, man, for winning this World Series. That was
Hell yeah.
awesome.
Star stuff.
My L, I know this kid's been dragged under the mud all week long, and he actually should, but he's getting drugged one more time. It is my guy Tyreek Stevenson from the Bears.
Oh man.
Listen, buddy, you can talk your shit to fans, you can do all that all you want, and that's totally understandable. But 4 seconds into a play that is going to determine the outcome of a game, and you're still looking in the crowd and taunting fans and not even paying attention to the breakdown of the play, and then you're supposed to be the guy that's boxing out Noah Brown at the end of the end zone, and you go up and run and tip the ball right to him. You could very well make the case he just cost the Bears their season, because that would have put them in the playoffs. They had won. Now they're at like the 11th spot.
They have to win this week now.
Yeah, now they're
Which
like
I
in the
think they
11th
will.
spot. They would have been like the 7th spot, and it would have knocked the Commanders from the 2 spot to like the 9 spot.
Yeah, man.
Now the Commanders are the 2 spot in the NFC. This just
Unacceptable.
changed.
That was an unacceptable ending.
This could have got Eberflus fired, dude. Like, this very well could get him fired.
That's
So-
massive. That's
And if you haven't seen the play, I don't even need to run it again. We don't need to show it
It's
again.
embarrassing
Just
as
go
hell.
find it because it's hilariously bad. And it's historic from the Commanders side of things because this is making Jay Daniels a freaking
I mean,
legend.
how sick are these Bears fans?
Oh, my
How
God.
sick to your stomach you got to be, bro.
Oh, my
You saw
God.
Caleb Williams' reaction when that happened.
Oh, he was livid.
He basically just walked to the
Yeah.
locker room. I'm like, I'm
Livid.
fucking done. And he was
Livid.
off. He was awful.
Yeah, he got the game-winning touchdown, though.
Well, sure, but he was awful that whole night. But honestly, both quarterbacks were pretty bad all night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this was man, I feel bad for Tyreek Stevenson. He came out and apologized ad nauseum. He's very very professional about it.
He deserves all the smoke.
But kiddo, yeah, you can't do stupid shit like that, bud. You cost your team a game and maybe cost your team their season. So for that, Tyreek Stevenson, do me a real big favor, buddy, and
hold this out.
appreciate it. So this has been, needless to say, a fun show, awesome show. We've had a lot go down. You guys have been insanely interactive in the chat. There's been a ton of you guys.
3:20. It's weird being on the show at.
I know,
3:20.
Yeah, usually
That's how we used to do it, man. We used to start at like 3 or 4 o'clock. Remember?
Yeah, the good old days on Fridays.
Or
Yep.
later than that, like 6, 7.
Shit, yeah, we used to do late shows on Fridays.
I'd be getting off at work.
That's
yeah.
back just the podcast days too.
Yeah.
We've come a long way though since then, man. And it's because of you guys. The growth has been substantial, and we cannot thank you guys enough for being a part of what we do here at the Spoken Podcast. Thank you guys so much for being with us. Thank you so much for hanging out with us guys all day. I mean, my God, we started the show 2 hours later, and it felt like we were still in the normal time slot. Everybody, all the regulars were here. We had new people in. Like, you guys make this fun, dude, and I can't thank you guys enough. I will remind you though, next week we will be back to 11 o'clock. So go ahead and just plan on being with us in the earlier portion of the day again on Saturday at
And
11
the week
a.m.
after that, we'll be back to late.
Yeah, so just bear with us, guys. There's a little bit of a schedule. Like I said, we
Got some
can't
volleyball to watch.
we can't
Sorry.
miss this, man. Yeah, to see, just full disclosure, to see my niece playing sports is awesome. She's a little bit on the shy side, so to see her interacting like that and doing things like that's very big to us. Yeah. So I'm sure you guys understand the family side of this thing, but you guys, as far as the family side on this side, you guys have been nothing but great, and we appreciate you guys for hanging tough with us. So for Trevor Twidwell, for Clay Windler on the back end of things that puts all this together with Red Tribe Cinema, for the entire Starcade Media family that's obviously interactive with us and Arrowhead Allies and all the great things we do together. I'm Lance Swidwell. Spoken Podcast, episode 290 is done, finished, and finito. And until we're back here in 1 week's time, and for episode 291, talking about the Chiefs 8-0, about to take on the Denver Broncos. We out of this bitch.
Later.